Commissioners.
You're looking at their background. It should be interesting. More interesting if there's a national government.
He likes you. But I highlight consideration there as well. Because I mean when you have the right?
I wasn't deleting.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
There were people that were holding.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, and
Thank you.
we need to look at
Just want to open the meeting. We can start. I'll let everybody know that we're being live streamed and recorded from this point on. I've got two attendees on Zoom, Andre Moore and Gamal Fuda, who will be here on Zoom, and I'll have to keep an eye with staff on when they wish to speak. So you will get people speaking from time to time on the remote system. So if we stand for the karakia.
Whakataka te hau ki te huru. Whakataka te hau ki te tonga. Kia mea te uta. Kia mata ki te hae. E hea ana ki atu kura. He tiota, he huka, he haupu. Tihei, mori.
Thank you. First of all, apologies. I had one from Andre Moore, but he's now there on Zoom. Is that good? Thank you. Welcome, Andre.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Andre.
Apologies, I can't be there. Apologies also, my video is not working, hasn't been for some weeks. It's going to require a trip to IT.
Okay.
That's fine, thank
As long
you.
as we can hear you.
That's kind. And we'll have to watch if either you or Gamal wish to speak. So we'll try and watch that carefully.
Thank you.
Item 2 is declarations of interest. We've got Marie Polisco declared an interest in item 10. Debbie Moore declared a perceived interest in item 12. So can I have a person to move that? Henk, seconded Mark. Those in favour say aye. Against, carried. Confirmation of previous minutes. Now, can we move and second? If there's discussion around the public excluded minutes, then we'll need to resolve to go into public excluded. But thank you.
Happy to move.
Happy to move.
Both.
Second, and we're moving both the open and the public excluded minutes. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Thank you.
Sarah.
So we've done that, thank you. Now we move to our public forum. We have approximately 30 minutes for this, and we've got 3 speakers. So if you confine yourself at the most to 5 minutes, and then we'll have a couple of options for questions. So the first one is Claire Mulcock from the Deans Avenue Precinct Society, and she wants to talk to us regarding the former Addington sale yard site. Come up, Claire. And just to brief people, this was an issue when I was first elected in 1995. So it's been a sore that's been hanging around for a long time. So thank you, Claire.
Okay. I have a presentation. Okay. So, well, Helen, that's pretty much was my introduction as well. This is not a new issue, and I think a lot of you will know. Thank you. So a lot of you will know about this, and but I'm here again today to, it has a while since I have been here, to just give you an update on the health and safety issues and the goings on down there, and just note that there are seemingly quite a few problems with achieving lasting solutions. There are some options for tidying it up a bit. And I think there's an element of poor coordination, communication between all the different agencies and private people who are involved in this issue. And so I'd like to make some suggestions for how DAPS might be able to help with this. Just quickly, I've got some Pressing the arrow.
Is it switched on the side, Claire?
Here we go.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if you can see this. So the yellow border marks pretty much the area we're talking about, the top part, and it's almost all, apart from the legal road and the railway, all that area is privately owned by one company, split by the legal road. You can see Mayfair Street, Deans Avenue on the right-hand side and Hagley Park, and the railway on the left, almost down to Blenheim Road at the bottom. And you can see in the middle of the cycleway going across from Hagley Park onto the Southern Expressway, and that's the legal road there and the hospital shuttle. So that sort of sets the scene for you. Oh, sure, gone done too. And this is the northern bit where most of the problems at the moment are. And you can see in the top right corner in the bushes there's a group of squatters have been there for some time. Those of you who drive past regularly have seen all the trolleys and including they're bringing in timber and all sorts of stuff. And I've marked just the Orion.
The reference is number 9, Marie.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go.
The Orion substation, and you can see that it borders on the legal road there, and that legal road's now blocked off for vehicle access. So they are using a crossing across the private land there to get into that site. But unfortunately, the landowner has not given permission for that access, and it's leading to vehicles being able to get in there to dump rubbish, and people are going in there to park on for Saturday sport and so on. So there's potentially an issue there. Orion are doing work there at the moment, so they've had big trucks in and out over the last few weeks. So go back. This just shows you how much of that northern area is owned. The red boundary is actually being consented for residential development for 128 apartments, and I think it's 4 commercial units. The little nick out in the top left hand is 2 of the out of the red line is 2 private properties that these people don't own. They own all the rest of it, and you can see quite how wide the road is, and the council. So that's the council land there. So this is just some pictures of what's going on in the Orion area. And this shows that access off Mayfair Street. So it's quite well formed. You can get pretty big vehicles in there. Those fence that's been put up has actually been put up by Orion to stop people stealing things off their things, off that works where they're doing the work there. But the owner has told us that he is going to block that off, but I think he's actually trying to get hold of Kinetics and Orion to work out what they're going to do. Sorry, I'm in trouble. Can you
Point it at the laptop.
That's the last one.
No?
The last one. Point up where, Faye?
At the laptop, not the screen.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
On Google Maps, I love that. Wow.
Yeah, so that just shows you some of the mess and stuff. Actually, that's actually on Deans Avenue a few months ago, and another one.
Comfortable, doesn't it?
So they've got a fair amount of gear there, and I was down there yesterday. There's clothes hanging on a clothesline.
It looks like the Walking Dead. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is just to show you the southern block where the hospital shuttle is. So this area is less of a problem at the moment, partly I think because there's other activities going on and there's less shrubbery and so on. Even there, though, there are plenty of secluded places for rough sleeping and so on. So the current issues really are that we've got squatters, they've got dogs, the dogs are loose, they intimidate people, they run after them. Pedestrians and cyclists being chased by dogs, it's no fun. People are getting nervous about crossing over using that that access across to Blenheim Road. As I said, the rubbish dumping that's happening now because they can access through the kinetics where the pathway kinetics are using. There's also people, personal persons that car coming just about every day, this is according to one of the neighbours, and feeding cats in there. There's a little platform, I'll show you a picture later of them coming and feeding wild cats. And it's a bit scary. We don't really want to confront these people, and I don't think the landowners agent is very much enjoys it too. People who are making complaints get passed around. They contact the council, who says it's the police problem, the squatters, and then the police say no, it's not us. You've got to go back to the owner. So it's all a bit complicated. And the owner's rep is using the 10-5 police number. When he rings, so he goes down and trespasses them. He rings the number, he can't get a response to get the police to come and evict them. And even when he does, within 24 hours, they're off and back again before he's had time to clear all this up. So the things we've been doing, we've met with Sam Yao, who's the owner's rep, and we've been talking with him about how we might be able, whether we can help, and he is, I think he will do something, but he's yeah, there's a whole lot of issues, I think, about most of these things. And we know that the council's enforcement team have recently visited the site after some neighbours complained, and the owners have been contacted to clear up the rubbish. And so there's a start of an enforcement process, we believe, going on there, and they've been given some time to, the owners have been asked to report back, so that is underway. But that doesn't, if we could get them off once, that doesn't, and get the rubbish removed. I mean, as Helen tells you, we've been around this track more than once in the last 20 years that I've lived there. So what we think we do, we need a more coordinated approach. DAPS is keen to help. The landowner is prepared to be involved. Council, so there's council, police, Orion, seem to be other parties in there that we could get the squatters evicted, tidy it up, and clear a lot of that low undergrowth. And the owners seem to be prepared to let, if we can find some legitimate activities that could go on there, I think that would help, and they're likely to let us do that. They do have that north area is consented for residential development, and they may start within 18 months, but they've had the consent for 5 years, so it's not something we can necessarily expect to happen shortly. But that would certainly tidy up that, obviously, that part of the area. But I think we could get some better communication that would help. So what we're asking is to support, to see if the board, community board, we know that different parts of the council are also involved, you would support our approach. We're looking to maybe get a liaison group to get all these different people together so that the owner's rep knows who can get an immediate response. The agencies can get in contact with him because we know he's very difficult to contact at times, and see if we can develop a plan to get a long-term solution, not just a clean-up, a one-off clean-up.
Thank you. So, and then just to say, I've been involved with this for quite a while, and Tyler's just starting on this. There's two issues: the use of the land, and are they going to develop? And the other issue is that because it's unkempt, it attracts people who are homeless. And it's quite sad, actually. I've been around there in the small little tents, and so it's not particularly good for them either. So 2 issues, questions, yes, Henk.
If you took all the ground cover away, it would stop the hiding places for sleeping in. So that to me doesn't seem like a major problem. Why can't that be done? Councillor?
Well, I'll have to go back to the tree policy.
Yeah. But I mean, it's only low undergrowth. That's the problem, isn't it? It's the bushes that they hide between
The trees themselves, if they could probably be okay. Most of the trees would be okay. It's still quite a big job because it's quite a big area.
Yeah, sure, but
That's private.
yeah.
So can I just hold it with questions? So any further questions, Henk?
No,
Not really.
that'll do for start.
Okay. Anyone else got a question? Marie, thank you.
Yep. Not sure if you do know, but you mentioned that they had the resource consent for 5 years already, but the resource consent would lapse after 5 years.
Yeah, but they can renew it. It's an extendable consent.
So they have extended?
I don't know. I don't know the answer, but I will ask. I am just looking at the dates recently.
Henk, another question?
Yeah, the homeless people, you need to get in touch with somebody like, there's a guy at City Mission who specialises in homeless people. Josh. Yeah, he's a good man. He looks a bit homeless himself, but he actually comes up with some good solutions, and that won't fix the problem, but it would help towards
With
it.
this particular group, it would help. You don't know his name?
I've got a details for you.
Josh, but I don't. Yeah.
Josh Gardner is his name.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
I'll send it to you.
I'll just, so where do we go with this? Do we ask for staff advice on forming a liaison group?
Helen,
Debbie.
more of a question to you perhaps, or staff, is how much can we get involved when it's private land? It's not council land. How much can we actually get involved when it's private land?
Yes,
It's like,
I know. Yes. Marie.
I had been involved, I think, in the early 2000s. I don't know if you remember Mark Backles. He was with the Central City Revitalization, and he was facilitating conversations between the landowner and council about what development could happen. So council can facilitate something with the landowner and the residents, I think the community, the local community there. But it's a matter of whether the landowner is willing, and
Out of the last
Thank you.
meeting, out of the last meeting,
So-
staff advice was
So
out of the last meetings.
it costs money.
The advice that came
That's
back.
my point.
It always comes down to $1.
oh, okay. Well, perhaps if we
20 years ago.
ask for staff advice on this, fairly prompt
So this was
advice,
requested at the last meeting.
and
staff
we've got it
advice.
back, and we haven't got a roll.
The staff advice was that it was private land and that it
Exactly
wasn't the
my
council.
point.
So it's starting to get really unkempt. I mean, there's Tyler, would you be able to facilitate a group?
Well, I really like this approach that Claire had, having DAPS at the forefront, because that involves community. I've been in talks with Bruce Rendell, who's the head of property and development, and that answer was put to me saying that it's the owner's problem. But there is some sort of there's a bipartisanship in this where it's actually a risk to the Dean's precinct for them to be there. And it's also not good for the city's outlook, to be quite frank. But at the same time, Sam, their developers are paying nearly $1 million a year in rates,
Okay.
which is a lot of money.
Yes.
So they'd want to actually, it's in their best interest to develop, to be honest. So I think there's a couple of sticks in that in regards to the resource consent itself. There was one thing that they really wanted to get over the line, which council didn't align with. So there's some other things within that, but Claire's making a great start, and I think this is a great opportunity. Happy to help out wherever I can, but I think going through the Dean's window is probably a more opportune time to do it, because if we went through council, then we just get the same answer from staff.
So what are we recommending from this submission? Yes.
Helen, I think Faye's covered that off quite a bit, and as somebody has mentioned here today, that it's been going on for 20 years, and as Faye has mentioned, it's the previous advice was that it's private land, and do you resource our ratepayers' money into further investigation when we've already had staff advice on it? And if they're already going to be developing this, won't the natural course of action take place with development? Because it could take that long to manage the situation. So if they're going to develop it anyway, do we not just let that natural course of action take place?
I don't think it will happen quickly.
I think the caveat is,
happy to be the liaison person with Deans Avenue Precinct Society.
I'd be happy to be involved, but I'd actually prefer to have Bruce Rendell at the table with Claire than myself. And everyone else working in that property development space. I'm really here to connect the community with council, but if council are able to be at the table, that's what I would like. And the head of property and development is at the table with Claire. That's never been done before, as far as I can remember. I've asked that question, which I think Claire came with a really clear and concise outcome, which means that she gets Bruce at the table or someone of the sort to be able to facilitate that, because there is an interest, a public interest in this now.
Yes.
A resident's interest, not just the owner and council. That's why I think Claire's approach is probably a pretty clear one. And
thank you.
Yeah.
So we support an informal liaison group. Is that what we're proposing?
What about we say something like that the board requests staff investigate the issues raised in the public forum and it provides advice on possible council involvement in a liaison group.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quite an issue.
Yes,
to address the issues.
Yes. And you might put in brackets that Tyler is potentially the person to
just pass it on.
facilitate. Yeah.
Coordinate.
Certainly been an ongoing issue. Okay, well, thank you, Claire. I'm going to have to conclude, but Tyler would be your contact person, and me if you wanted me to. Thank you. Thank you. The next person is David Hawke, who's from the Hawthorne Residents Association, will address the board regarding traffic travelling from the Selwyn district through to Christchurch City Council. Can I say, David, that when we drew up the Southwest Area Plan, that's about 2008, this was always seen as a potential issue, and it's now hitting everybody directly. So if you can have 5 minutes.
Yep. Okay. So, Tina Coulter. So I'm David Hawke and Secretary of Hawthorne Residents Association, and with me is John Bennett, our chairman. I think most of you know both of those, but anyway. So thanks for the opportunity to talk with you today. As Helen said, our topic is through traffic from Selwyn District. And I guess we could just sort of, there's a lot of talk around about road classifications and so on, but I'd have to say that we actually find it unacceptable for residential streets in our community to be used as through routes for traffic from somewhere else, the likes of Prebbleton. We think that this traffic actually belongs on the roads that were put there for the purpose, which is the likes of Springs Road. So this issue is, as Helen said, it's not a new one, but we had a bit of a crack at it earlier in the year when we submitted on the Wincops Road, Richmond Avenue safety improvements. At that stage, we had suggested modal filters, which, if you remember, allow people walking or biking to go through, but not vehicles, as a cheaper and more effective approach to managing that through traffic. As a board, you accepted the proposed safety measures that were put before you and sent the modal filter idea off to staff for a report. And that report came to your meeting last month, 4 weeks ago. That report contained some useful ideas on the applicability of modal filters, but actually the issue of through traffic from Selwyn District, that wasn't really addressed in that report. I'd have to say that as an association, we made a mistake suggesting a solution rather than posing the problem. So the problem is through traffic from Selwyn District. And we, so this is actually past people's houses, and these are houses that people bought without expecting to have a flood of cars go through when they bought their place. And so those vehicles need to go somewhere else. So we're posing the problem to you. It's not just one for our area though, as you will see. So anything that comes through Halswell is just doing that. So it's going right on through. So Hoonhay, Cashmere and the likes. We were actually encouraged to take a big picture with a comment by Councillor Tim Scandrett, who's Councillor of Cashmere Ward, in the draft annual plan hearing. And at that stage, this was a few years ago now, we were supporting a proposed public transport lane from Curlex Road to Wrights Road in Hillmorton. We were asking council to get a move on. But if I recall correctly, he, through our passionate presentation, he said, I'm having nothing to do with four-laning Addington Village. And we didn't know Addington Village was on the list. We were talking about Hillmorton. We weren't talking about Addington. But this connectivity across the city is something that we would like your board to get together with Spraden Cashmere Heathcote Community Board and do some joint work on the issue, because it's not just our issue, it's actually a much broader issue than that. Some of you might recall, I think in the last board, that the two boards worked together previously on broader transport issues. It's actually a wee bit tricky here because our community boards don't actually meet as often as they used to. So we've already been to their community board to ask them this question. Ideally, we would have come to you guys first because, like you're our community board. But actually, with these monthly meetings, it sort of puts us at a bit of a disadvantage. So they have a public forum, which was 2 weeks after each meeting, and we went to them 2 weeks ago. So we told them much the same as I've just told you now. So what we're asking is very simple. So in the first instance, for your chairperson, Helen, to meet with their chairperson, Callum, to actually see what might be done across the two boards working together. So thanks for listening. Kia ora.
Thank you. Good, thank you. Questions, Debbie?
Yeah, just to confirm, I think I know the speed limit down there. It's 40 k's, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not the speed limit, it's the volume of traffic.
And so I'm a user of that road, but I'm not from Selwyn, coming in from Selwyn. So my question is how do you know it's traffic from Selwyn?
Well, it isn't going to be from Cashmere.
I'm just thinking because of the incredible amount of subdivisions in Halswell, could be a lot of people that are working in Selwyn that are coming back in. And so that could explain that why it's coming back into Selwyn. A lot of people go to the relevant leisure centre, come back in, etc. So how do you have actual figures as to the fact that it is from Selwyn? Because like I said, we travel from Selwyn, but I'm not based in Selwyn.
Well, we see the traffic coming down Wincox Road, for example. That's certainly not from Halswell, that's from further afield. So we don't need any surveys to point that out.
I mean, I have traffic flows as well, but it's also part and parcel of the increased subdivisions.
Yes.
But they're localised, are they not? We're talking about further afield.
Yes.
Do we refer?
I think rather than getting tangled up with, what there is evidence for this or evidence for that, is actually just to actually get the two boards working together and discussing that, the question. And really it's for the traffic engineers to gather the data as to, well, maybe it's all coming from Cashmere, I don't know. But is to actually work together and actually formulate the issue. And if it's decided that there's an issue, then we can go forward. But the reason we're coming to you at the moment is to actually to ask the two boards to actually work together and have a discussion. It's not prejudging the outcomes of that discussion at all.
got a question from Tyler and then Mark, and then we'll wind things up. Thank you. Tyler.
Kia ora. I just wanted to get some points of clarification here. So you weren't just talking about Wincops Road, you're talking about in principle of traffic improvements across the ward area.
Our trigger was the Wincops Road one, yeah, but it's not just a Wincops Road issue.
Okay.
Thank you.
What really prompted us, the talk of Ellesmere Road there was talk of it being upgraded, which means any traffic that comes down Ellesmere Road is going to land right in the middle of then what?
Yeah, completely agree.
Thank you. Mark?
Well, do you think it might be useful for us also to get together with Selwyn District at the table to try and work this through as a threesome?
Yeah, it was interesting. We talked with Andre, and his first response was, why don't you get Selwyn District to come and talk to one of our meetings? Yeah, well, why not? I think in the first instance, we're asking your board to talk with the next board. What Callum and Helen decide between themselves is their call. So we're trying to sort of step back and formulate the issue and start some conversations rather than say, well, this is what needs to be done.
Helen,
Thank you.
Helen, are we able to ask our traffic engineer that's sitting in the room with us?
I don't think so at present. No, I think because we've got a third speaker, and we're at our time limit for public forums. So, are you comfortable with the suggestion that I and Callum meet? First of all,
well, it would be helpful to have the traffic engineer's opinion, because he might be able to advise whether it's helpful or not.
It's not as
We've already got a report from the traffic engineer. It was in our board report. So
yes, last time.
the Red Association are here in response to that report that's been provided. And, it seems though we do need a more open dialogue with Selwyn District Council and with our neighbouring community board.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So if we just move that Callum and I meet first of all and discuss the issue and see if there's any solutions that come to mind. I guess we could have a traffic engineer in the room at that time too. Okay. Thank you.
And Selwyn?
Thanks a lot.
Some of the neighbouring councillors themselves be useful too.
Thank you very much. Was that what Spraydon recommended, by the way?
Oh, yeah, they were happy to have Callum come along. Yeah,
Good.
sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Might have the same.
Thank you.
Top-notch
You
community.
could have had a chat with him.
And we could have the deputy chair too.
Could have had a chat with him this afternoon, Helen.
Yes. Thank you. The next person is Tupulasi Talina, who's come in to talk about trees and Kathleen Crescent in Hinton Park. Welcome.
It's wonderful to be here. So it's an honor to be here to represent the residents of Kathleen Crescent. Of course, maybe after my presentation, we've got some letters here. I think there's more detail, maybe a lot better than what I'm going to talk about to support this. So that some of us are here, Helen and Judy, Tina, and of course other gentlemen here from the Kathleen Crescent Hornby. All right, so my presentation really is it's a very straightforward. It's an issue that's been on our street, in our area for a long time. So I don't really muck around. You see the word muster there. Hinton Park pine tree must come down. And there's an urgency there in terms of very much sort of problematic in our area. I guess my own family actually moved there 27 years ago. And I think others have been there longer than that. And my own family sort of grew up there, and my children, there was an opportunity for my family to move somewhere else. And my kids told me, don't move, don't go, Dad. This is where we belong, where we're born here. And we just love the area, we love the place, we love the people on the street. And that's what keeps us there. So they're getting far too tall, protecting the sun. We have lack of sunlight throughout the year, especially during winter months, April to August. During strong winds, we live in fear of falling branches, trees onto our houses and property, and I think that captures in the letters here as well. And if you can have a look at that, those trees there, that's my property. I think when we moved there, the trees were just above my head, and you can see the impact of them now. They're far too tall, and we're very, very close to it. Some of those branches has come right over our property, and same as other along the lines here. And they're far too dangerous, really, when when the wind is strong and all that. Well, the next one really is around is about yellow pollens, causing bad allergies, harmful to health, causing breathing problems. Yellow coating sticks on washing, on cars, on car roof, car windows, on people's hair, clothes, and on houses and roofs and all that. Block filters, ventilation, heat pumps, outside unit, and also outdoor furniture as well. Personally, I cover my car and outdoor furniture deliberately to avoid this, and I'm sure many others are doing the same, really around protecting them from the yellow pollens. I think some of those letters there that actually in research coming through as well. There's a proof there. Actually, I think the impacting on breathing issues and all those kinds of issues with hay fever and all that. So it's really, really bad, really, during that time when the pollens come on. So some of those images of the pollens around the place. That's my property. Well, that's not too bad, really. We took the photo at the wrong time, but it's really, really bad. It can be quite worse, really, at times. And the third one really is about the pine needles. The pine needles are everywhere and anywhere on property, on cars, same as that, windows, on the house roof, all right throughout driveways and barbecue areas, house spouting and guttering, blocking heat pumps, outside unit ventilation, block drains, on clothes at washing line. On windy days, the pine needles are everywhere. Clean spouting 3 times a year, or if not more than that. It's a real hassle. It's absolutely a real hassle, really, for people like yourselves who actually ride on the line there. And as you can see, some of that that's my spouting, really. Actually clean probably 3 times a year. And just last night, last couple of weeks, I took a photo of it, and it's actually full. I almost have a trailer load of those, and it's not fun at all, and particularly with that everywhere. Well, may I say I work for the University of Canterbury. My area of research is on leadership, and I've been at the university for 20 years, and that's my area of research around leadership. And I sort of brought a couple of those things, but I think that's important, really, in terms of leadership. Whoever is leading this and making decisions about things. What I always find about good leadership is around broad vision, about the future of people, and also deep thinking about issues around, and also adaptability. We may have things that we try to apply for, but when it's to do with health of people, we need a good leader can actually adapt to the situation, adapt to the voices of the people that bring in. And that's what I find in my area of expertise around leadership, really. It's around those things about broad vision, thinking about the children, the families that live in this area moving forward, and also deep thinking about what is this all about? Are they the trees or the people? What is important? The adaptability, as I said, that you may have conditions and things like that, try to obey by, but I think there's something more important than that. And that's when the good leader is about, is adapting to the situation. Love and respect for the resident and people, and care for people's health, wellness, and well-being. Well, I want to say to you that there's a good family that live on that street, and that's my family. I'm just representing many good families that live on that street. I'm just bringing my family to represent all the good residents on the street. And as I said before, I wanted to leave a couple of years ago. There was an opportunity. And all my boys said to me, all my children said to me, now we're not leaving. So one of these guys is going to be a doctor soon and a lawyer soon. And they come from this area here and they don't want to go anywhere. They want to stay where we are, and we are loyal to the area. We love the people there. And I want to close by my favorite saying in Māori, ahateme nui o te ao. E tangata, e tangata, e tangata. What is the most important thing in the world is people. It is people. It is people. And I want to say on behalf of the residents of there, we want those trees down. And whatever plan that we're planning at the moment to, maybe you're thinking about, well, we're going to plant some trees and then cut those trees down. No, we have enough of them. We need to put them down. And then whatever plan it is, because it's people is important. Who knows? There's few senior members who actually passed away not long ago from my street. Who knows? Maybe these trees have contributed to their health. And I've been out there for a while, and I just wanted to say one more little thing. There's a value in my culture and Māori and other cultures called reciprocity. That value of reciprocity is important. I've been trying to do my own job there, looking after the park and bringing the police so many times, chase youth in the morning with the hoe, with their pike all around there, protecting the park, and for 27 years. So that is something that I'm doing. I didn't want to say this here, but those are some of the little things that a lot of residents are doing, like myself, about the park. So that's what I parked to protect it for the people, from my background as a teacher myself. But now I wanted to reciprocate that by cutting those trees down and replace it with something that we can all enjoy. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Okay. Question from Mark.
Can I firstly say thank you for coming and speaking to us today and giving us the context of what these trees are to all of you in that community. And I'm gathering the solution, you've made it quite clear, you'd like the trees gone. That's kind of the message that we need to try and get from what you've been telling us?
Yes, that's absolutely right. Terry.
Thank you. Marie?
Thank you for that presentation. I was one of those who had asked what's the background of this, because I haven't heard anything about this before. So my question is, you said the trees must come down. Are you suggesting that all of the trees there, or just selected few, or what is?
Yes, all the pine trees. Yeah,
all the pine trees, whether they're
all,
even if they're healthy trees.
Well, they need to come down. They need to come down. I mean, I'm sure that we can replace it with some trees that are not causing these things. As I said before, I don't think we can go further than what I said before. It's the health of people than those trees.
Were the trees there already when you moved?
That's right. Yes, right. Yes, yeah.
But that not that tall.
They were planted around the Olympics.
Commonwealth
Games. That's right. Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask a question. They're definitely pine, but they look like pine. But I'm just clear of that.
Cedar Street.
Cedar
Street. Yeah.
Cedars.
Marie, Debbie.
Yes, thank you again for your incredible presentation. I just want to confirm again from what you said, you were thinking about moving?
Yes.
Because of the trees?
Very much part of all that, yeah. Part of that, trailers of these things year after year, cleaning, sprouting, and all that. We had a good opportunity to move somewhere else.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Helen, is this when we talk about the notice of motion, or is that later?
It is later. I've got a question from Hank, and then we'll wind things up. Thank you.
They've been around a while, these trees, and you're quite correct. I back you 100% that the trees need to come down. And I actually thought we had that arrangement last year. I actually thought we had the whole system cut and dried and finished. I'm disappointed, as you are, that I haven't seen it on the ground yet. So we will try and push it along a bit faster. We can't go any slower, so any forward movement has got to be faster. So
Now
I only apologise to you guys.
You've got a question there, have you? Have you got a question, Hank? You've got a question? Just a statement.
That's good.
That's fair.
Oh, Sarah, someone asked, yes.
Is it, so as far as we're aware, there's 33 mature cedar trees. Is every single one of those trees causing issues to the extent to the residents?
Pretty much.
Every single, okay.
Oh, so people here.
And so they're all, because I went there the other day, and so they're all along that fence line, but obviously some of them are offset, you know, like.
I even have one in my property that's self-seeded that's causing a lot of issues to my house.
Okay. So like if we, it just might, I totally empathize with what you're going through. It may, I'm not sure, it may be tricky for us to remove all of them, but if there was an option of, you know,
Selecting.
yeah, would that work, or
Just
For what, sorry?
No,
well, I
can
just noticed in previous.
really asking, are you wanting them all down, or if some were to come down, would that be an
That was
option?
same
or
with
not?
Yeah, would that be an
question.
option?
Why will you keep them
Yeah.
if what I've just said
Yeah.
about the causing
That's
health? Yeah, I don't know about you, but there's
Yeah.
nothing more than.
Yeah, and that's because, like you say,
Yeah.
every single tree is
Absolutely.
causing issues to the residents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a follow-up question.
Just one
Just-
last one, thank you.
Just a follow-up question, in the same line as Sarah and I were alluding to. She mentioned 33 trees. Are all those 33 trees cedar trees? Because I believe when I looked at on this one, some trees are not cedar trees. Some of those are not cedar trees.
According to previous staff advice, it's got 33 mature.
Along the boundary, it's all cedar trees. All right.
The average is-
So just the cedar trees. If they are,
Well, if I could just keep it to one
Yeah.
question, please, and
So
one response.
if there is a tree there that's not a cedar tree, that doesn't have to be cut down.
Not, yeah.
Right, okay.
Thank you. So
Mm.
I'll finish here if I might.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank you too.
coming in.
Thank you.
Interesting presentation. And
Feel free to stay.
there's a notice of motion coming up. So, and you're very welcome to stay. So if you want to see how the board goes on that, Mark's put a notice of motion and saying that we go through to the long-term plan and we advocate that the trees come down. So you are welcome to stay. When's it coming up, Faye? Just number 7, that's coming up shortly. So the next, we've got 3 deputations by appointment. We've got Wayne Keane to address us, the board, regarding the Wigram-Hayton Road intersection improvement report. Wayne, we had a chat on the way up. If you'd like to come through. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I need some water in my mouth. I can hear it, but no one else can hear me.
So Wayne, if in fact you'd like to start. And the maximum time is 10 minutes, which includes questions.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. I'd like to congratulate the staff for getting the Wigram Road entrance use off the ground. We need to all support this, as this is the only real answer to a delicate situation where there have recently been 2 accidents on Augustine Drive. I personally support this as step 1 of the solution to the traffic problems of Augustine Drive. It is stated in the CC reports that Wigram Road is only suitable for small vehicles. I challenge the definition of small vehicles. This underpass is higher than many similar underpasses, shopping malls, and at Christchurch Airport. Recently, we had the Rugby League South Island competition there. There were in excess of 500 vehicles. I personally measured each type of vehicle and only found 4 vehicles that could not have used the underpass, 4 out of 500. The alternative
is to continue using Augustine Drive as the main entrance, which is designated a local road. CCC Infrastructure Design Standard 8.8, the primary purpose of a local road is to provide access to properties with a traffic volume of 200 to 2,000 movements per day. In 2019, Augustine Drive traffic was recorded at a weekday daily average of 2,027 vehicles and a weekend daily average of 4,034 vehicles. This is already exceeding the council's recommendation, and you want to add another 3,200 vehicles per day. Augustine Drive is not a suitable main entrance to Ngapunawai. In fact, it shouldn't be an entrance. Lock the gate. Up until now, we have had activities where the participants and spectators arrive, then all leave at the conclusion of the activity. With the new netball centre, people will come and go for multiple games throughout the evening and weekend. What days will grades be playing? The CNC, Canterbury Netball Centre Indoor Centre Update states, this is their own publication, CNC's new venue provides an existing opportunity to offer more midweek and evening netball. Junior grades are likely to have choices of midweek or Saturdays options available. The majority of grades will still be played on Saturday. That is from Canterbury Netball. My family are very much into netball. So. Now, Punawai Netball Centre has 430 car parks, and these will all be needed for normal netball. The second group arrives while the first group is still playing, and this overlap will continue. On a weeknight, this would mean 4 sessions with 1,600 vehicle movements. On a Saturday, this would be 3,200 vehicle movements, hence the need for the Wigram Road entrance to be open. A public information program will be needed to educate participants and promote Wigram Road as the main entrance to Ngapunawai. It won't just happen. You'll open it and nothing will come in Wigram Road because they're so used to it. So we'll need this. Taking this a step forward, one of the personal problems I've found dealing with Ngapunawai, this is a residential community that you have added a major sporting complex to with plans for continued further development. It's not finished. It's going on. We have already lost 2 community fields through the addition of the Netball Centre. The second field was meant to remain when the building was initially put in place, but has since been removed for the needed car parking. Fully thinking through the issues such as traffic volume, car parking, impact on residents and local community use of this space needs to be done when proposing new additions to any part of the city. A recent public meeting at Ngapunawai demonstrated how progress can be made between the community, city council, parks and recreation team as they actually talk to each other. We were all there. We were there because of a problem, I must admit. It is a better way forward for residents than having to react and having to come to a board meeting to challenge what's already in place. So 2 things, change the main entrance to Ngapunawai, and we need to set up a communication system that we can actually be talking and involved in the process, because we've got more commitment than you have there. We bought houses. We're there for life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to just have a couple of questions. Mark, anybody else?
What about Andre, Mike?
Andre, if you want to. Mark first.
Very good. Thank you for that very clear presentation. So I'm hearing from that you would really like Augustine Drive closed off as the main entrance to Ngapunawai.
Right.
Do you think it would be a good option to look then at the alternate 2 entranceways, one being the one we're talking about tonight, the Wigram Hayton, and then also McMahon Drive as an alternative?
I know Augustine Drive because we almost bought a house in there. Because of this, we shifted. They're around the corner, so we're still getting the effect of that. I personally would have problem personally saying, oh, good, let's shift Augustin Road and Euphrasia Drive and put the problem at McMahon. Because all we would be doing is shifting the problem. You have to realise we've built this huge centre. When you look at the development plan that was put out years ago, there's a whole lot more to go in, which we're not criticising, but the houses were there and they were not designed wide enough. Augustin Drive and McMahon are the same width. I've measured them. Euphrasia Drive, where a lot of traffic comes through, is not even as wide as those two roads. It's what I call a 3-car road. You've got 2 cars parked, you can only get one through the middle. So you've got no room to shift traffic. So while I would like to say McMahon's the answer, do I really want to make enemies there? I don't know anybody there at the moment.
You will do.
Okay?
You will do.
I would, yeah.
Andre and then Debbie. Andre, do you have a question?
I don't have a question.
Thank you. Debbie?
Not really a question, but just to say that, yes, fully aware of your concerns. And even before it was built and it was still out for consultation, Mike will remember this, the signs were already up for Napuna Wai before the end of the consultation. We were very concerned about it being placed in a residential area. However, we have it now, and you're certainly taking on board your concerns, as I've evidenced the accidents as well as traffic pouring out even onto Henderson's Road, for instance, because people want to get away quickly. So let's just see where we move on from.
Thank you.
From that.
Thank you. So what are you asking us to do, Wayne? What
To make,
in terms of the actual resolution here?
to actually make them Wollongong Road the main entrance to Napuna Wai, guide everything there, and only have the other vet runs available for trucks and large vehicles, which are a very small group.
So you're asking us for quite a massive shift.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
I don't. I'm not sure if the roads were built structurally for such vehicles. There's certain roads that are not structured for such strong vehicles. That's what's concerning me, is with the underpass, even though it might have the height for a heavy truck, I don't know about the road structure, whether it can take a heavy vehicle regardless of the height. So that we will hear from the staff on that anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Thank you for coming in. You're welcome to stay, because we've got 2 other people to hear, and then at some point we'll move the actual resolution. In fact, not move it. Thank you. Now, David, coming to the table. David. We have
Another David.
Have you down speaking?
We're still doing public forum.
We're doing a deputation now on this.
Again, if you could confine comments to 5 minutes, please. Thank you.
Yeah, we're not planning a filibuster.
Welcome back, gentlemen.
What's that?
Welcome back, gentlemen.
I'll just have this phone go blank just a minute. There we go. Right, so we'll be pretty brief. So thanks again for the opportunity. We reiterate our support for the upgrade. We're really happy that a comprehensive approach has been taken to that intersection, and we're sort of heading off at the pass, the option, and this is looking particularly at our 3 councillors, the potential to have a cheap go at it by putting in a roundabout. The proposal that's been put is a good proposal. If you did put in a roundabout, it would be an absolute nightmare for all sorts of reasons. We'd also reiterate our appreciation for the efforts made by staff to come along to our meeting and present their ideas. We really did. They came along before the proposal was actually put out to consultation, and we really appreciated that. Where are we up to? I think that, and this follows on a little bit from what Wayne said just a moment ago, I think that staff left with a really clear appreciation of the role that intersection upgrade will take in pulling the pressure off the likes of Aidenfield Drive. what have we got here? Really supportive of the better provision for people walking and biking through that intersection. And I think the speaker following us will speak to that as well. So what needs to happen now, once you've approved construction in the form that's given to you today, is for efforts to be made that have that access to Ngāpunawai off Wigram Road as the preferred option for the people who use Ngāpunawai. And we need to see that project in that light.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. I can take a couple of questions. Mark?
I don't know if you've picked up, but there's a bit of conversation around the table around the raised platforms that have been included in this design. What are your thoughts on those?
Do you want to have you lived on Wigram Road for a while, so you
What was the question again?
The raised platforms that are going to be at the traffic light limit lines.
When you see the behaviour of motorists, I'd say it'd be a good idea, because it is already happening on Lincoln Road and it seems to work quite well, slowing people down. So yeah, I have a daughter that was pretty upset about it, but then she's a bit of a petrol head. So.
Yeah, and that's really the target audience of the
of the speed hump,
yeah. And you know, like people have said about the raised platform, and I think, you know, you ask the question, what's the raised platform intended to do? It's to slow people down. And people, well, there's two things that people don't like. One is being slowed down, and the other is being given a physical reminder of the need to slow down. So, you know,
got to be good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other question? Well, thank you, David and John, for coming in. I've got the wrong name, haven't I?
No.
No, that's right.
No, you're
I've
right.
got the right name. Good. Thank you very much. And we'll move on to, you're welcome to stay and watch the actual debate. And we'll move on to Don Babe from Spoke, Canterbury. Welcome, Don.
Good afternoon, folks.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for letting me come in and have a little chat to you.
And we can probably guess at what you're planning to say, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's the second photo. Can you bring up the first one?
Yep.
So just quickly, and we'll go on to the first one in a minute. Just the intersection upgrade at Wigram and Haytons is what I'm here to talk about. The proposed work is a very good piece of infrastructure, has achieved a number of desirable outcomes, as we've heard, and better access to Ngāpunawai, improvements to the Little River Link major cycleway, that sort of bend, and it's a bit of a mess there. Improvements, better access to the major cycleway for residents and other visitors to Wigram, an alternate route for users of the Little River Link cycleway, and slower traffic along Wigram Road, which I think has become a bit of a speed area. So I wish to emphasise the third and fourth benefits: better access to the major cycleway route for residents and other visitors to Wigram. Wigram is quite a bike-friendly suburban centre because of a number of features built in from the beginning, because it's quite a new area. One of these are the pass through the stormwater swales, and they're actually very pleasant. They're lovely for walking and cycling, and plus they connect the streets very well. So they're off-road, and if there's no people walking dogs there, it's really nice. However, there's always been a problem on Wigram Road because you just get down there and the path just stops. So, you know, it's like you don't go along a road anywhere and you get to the end of the road. You know, you don't have a block on a road, but the cycle path just stops. There are tracks through the grass indicating that cyclists are using it to access Wigram Road and other parts in the current state, but this will not suit less confident cyclists. I don't like doing it, especially if there's been a bit of rain. The proposed plans build from the path end to the Little River Cycleway in a safe way, and I think that's really good. This is important in this area in particular because of the location of the Kilmarnock facility, which is the photo on the right up there. So that's in your area, where the Kilmarnock facility, and you can just see the number of cycles there. You know, there's a lot of people that are working or keeping occupied at that place that are unable to drive. And so cycling becomes important. Access to safe cycleways is very important. So the swales, the tracks through the swales come out very close to that Kilmarnock facility. So they've got a really nice way of getting, if you get this bit done, of getting from their place of work back to the safe cycleway. So that's really good. So and the second point is an alternate route for users of the Little River Cycleway. And I think the cycleway is great, but it is away from where people live and work and play. It's like the adjacent motorway. It's just made to get you from one end to the other. However, there are times when having an alternative route through a relatively safe suburb is desirable. Cyclists need food like cars need fuel. And the opportunity to pass through Wigram and refuel and or do other activities is great for the cyclist and the retailer. There is good use of the Little River Cycleway. This photo on the left there, I took a couple of years ago on a, before 8 o'clock on a Monday morning, so it's quite chilly, but you can see that there'd already been a number of cycles. I was quite amazed actually, the number of cycles that have been along there before 8 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, it is a well-used facility. The counter just up the road, I'm not too sure whether you people have sort of caught up with that. There's a counter just as the cycleway gets to that underpass area, and that's recording 260 cycle passes a day in both directions. So that's, you know, it is being well used. Good. So as for the detailed design, which I had a look at yesterday, I'm not a traffic engineer and there are better people around at doing that than me. The only little comment I would make is that it may pay to move the crossing where the Little River Cycleway crosses the road going to the underpass, move it further away from the underpass, because as cars come out from the underpass, they've got this gantry in front of them. And I'm just a little bit worried that maybe the stop sign for the cyclist will get lost amongst the gantry and things. So, you know, maybe the traffic engineers will tell me that it can't be done and all that, and that's fine. But it's just a little comment that I make. So otherwise, I think it's great. And in conclusion, it's great work, and please just get it done. It's great, real good. So I'm all in support.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any questions? Sarah and then Mark.
I'd be curious to know your thoughts on the raised platform.
I don't even notice a raised platform on my bike because I'm going slow. You know, it's low. So as far as it's a big gain because you're slowing the cars down.
Yeah.
Have you seen the figures for what happens if you get hit by a car at different speeds? You know, if you get hit by a car at 80 k's an hour, you're going to die. Almost guaranteed. If you get hit by a car at 20 k's an hour, you've got an 80% chance of living. So that's a huge difference. So, you know, the value of slowing cars down for people on bikes is huge. Just because, you know, we do make mistakes. There is sun glare or something like that, and someone will make a mistake. But if they're going slow, you've got a much, much, much higher chance of survival.
Thank you.
That's important.
Mark?
Yeah, mine was very much along that same line. Because as a vulnerable road user, of course, you would feel a lot safer with those platforms in place, I take it.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And you've also got to think of the Kilmarnock people, you know, if they're going down there. And that's another reason why you definitely need traffic lights. You need to have that so that those people can get across there safely with signals and just get onto a safe cycle path and then go wherever they have to go.
Thank you. Debbie?
Okay, so people travelling Wigram Road presently, which I have done and on bike. So the only time I was saying that there might be a concern is when there's an event on where people would be exiting Napunawai because they're not every day of the week.
Well, I think there might be with the netball and things. It sounds like it.
Okay.
Sounds it's going to be used quite a bit.
Good eye. Cheers. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you very much. I'll ask you to leave the table and we'll now have our traffic engineer Davidson to do a presentation to us.
We're going to item 8. Is that what you're saying? We're going to item 8.
Oh, we are too, aren't we? Yes.
Are we not doing the notice?
We'll kind of move to item 8. We'll go back to the notice of motion. Sorry about that.
Sorry, item 7 you mean? Item 8.
No,
item 8.
We'll jump on to 8.
Thank you.
We're going to meet.
So if you'd like to take us through your report.
Yes. Yeah.
And summarise it for us.
Oh, yeah. Afternoon, Chair and the board.
Thank you.
Yeah, so here today, I'm David Sang, the project manager of transport. Today, we are bringing a Wigram Hayton Road resolution for the board approval for the parking removal and the recommendation to the council for the approval of the proposal, including the signalization of the intersection. So we are proposing a 4-way signalized intersection to replace the current three-way priority controlled P intersection with a raised platform. The reason why we're proposing a raised platform was to make sure there's a safe speed because we're anticipating there are more pedestrians and cyclists are going to use the road. And this situation is kind of semi-urban. It's quite different from a real urban environment, and it is an isolated signal. So we're thinking a raised platform can reduce the potential risk of any speeding or like right running. Red light running, yes. So, and we are going to seal the existing access to Napuna Y and narrow that and connect to the signalizing section as a leg. So Napuna Y access road, unfortunately, due to the height limit, 2.4 meters going through the culvert, it has to only allowed for light vehicles and only open to the public between 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. However, the cycle and pedestrian collections won't be affected. It's open 24 hours. And a shared path will be provided on the north side of Wigram Road, connecting from where the shared road ending near Hayton Reserve to Wigram Hayton intersection. This is a long missing section of the shared path. And the Little River, a link major cycleway crossing on the access road will be moved away from the culvert, so make it better side distance into visibility of cyclists and vehicles, so make it safer. And for car park removal, we are going to proposing 34 on-street parking removal. So we undertook public consultation from 7th August to 27th August. We received 54 submissions and 3 emails. Of all these submissions is really well related with this site. So we got 22 submitters. As far 39 people living in the nearby area, and 27 submitters, that's about 47% commute through this intersection, and 5 people, that's about 9% walking in the nearby area. So totally 79% agree our proposal will improve the safety, and 6 submitters, 11% disagree, and 3 submitters, 5% somewhat increased down they will support, and two people not sure. And so one item I think is a raised safety platform. There are some different opinion on that. So we counted the submissions. 7 people clearly mentioned they support the raised platform, and extra 2 people said it will make it safe, and 7 people clearly mentioned they don't support the raised platform. So based on the opinion, we still propose the raised platform, and here that's general the consultation feedback. Do you have any questions?
Thank you very much. And now I've got a question from Andre.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can you please confirm there's a signalised crossing for pedestrians?
Is sorry, you mean on the crossing on the Napuna Y access road, or
this intersection, that there's a signalised crossing?
There will be a crosswalk will be signalised, yeah, for pedestrians.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Yep.
No.
No, thank you. Tyler and then Debbie.
Good day. Just a quick question about the green surfacing. Can you elaborate a bit more on that? And is it permeable?
Is it what?
Permeable. Oh, sorry, the green surfacing may be confusing. The large one on the southeast corner, that's a new grass because we are narrowing the existing accessway. Can't use that, those are gravel. So we narrow it down, but it's the parkland, so they prefer to be grass for now, and they're going to manage any opportunity in the future, maybe landscaping.
Okay.
So the north of Wigram is a deep green. Those are in the road reserve, so we're going to make a landscape those areas.
Oh,
So, yeah.
there's 3 different greens there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
two
it's quite
different
quick.
green, so it's not very
Very
quick. Yeah.
Light green is.
Thank you.
So on that, to be clear that the grass surface could in future be
Landscaped.
landscape.
Yeah, because the park said they will consider as a entire future.
Okay.
Because a massive green space there. Yeah.
I see. Oh, I get it now. Yeah. No, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Debbie, then Sarah.
Yes, 2 questions. You mentioned parks removals, car park removals. Whereabouts are they?
Oh yes, it's really hard to.
On the map, I couldn't quite see.
In the presentation we made previously was lots of parking. So 5 on Hayton Road.
Hayton Road.
Hayton Road because of the new curb. We have to remove 1 on the left-hand side.
Do you wanna-
look at the map?
Can you ask
1
me
on
to
the
point?
left-hand side and 4 on the.
David, if you could point on
the
that
screen.
up
Sorry.
there, thank you.
Or just stand there and just.
You are most welcome to.
Don't do these bits up here.
Sorry, I can stand there.
Yeah.
This slide here.
So we'll have one removed here.
1.
And 4 removed there. The reason was actually the no stopping yellow line was really close to the intersection. Actually, from the Google Street View, you can see no car parks there now.
Yeah.
They only park up in there. So we're going to remove, extend it to the yellow line, no stopping yellow line for that. So we lose 1 there for on the opposite side.
Yeah.
And so on Wigram Road, this side, we lose this parking between the intersection to the driveway. And we remain parking on the rest of Wigram Road. So we count it as 3. So ideally, there shouldn't be any parking from the crossing point to the intersection. However, there are no stopping line now, so we count it as 3 parking removal. And the rest of the removal was on Wigram Road South here on the grass area. So currently there were no marking. Legally, cars can park on the grass, but there were no cars parking here. So for this area, we are going to, so the red line at the curb, we're going to put a curb and channel, so formally remove those parking. So in theory, they can park like a 16 car along here and 10 car on that side. So those those parkings removed.
So the white building there, what business is that?
That building.
Yes, what is?
Sorry, I forgot the name. We did talk to them in early engagement. So all the buildings, we did early engagement with the buildings. They don't have any concern other than the parking. So we send them the consultation materials, including the drawing. They don't have any other comments.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for that. And so my next question is, have you done speed tests along Wigram Road to see what the average speed is?
We did have we didn't do a particular speed test, but we have traffic counts data. There are speed volume speed value there. It's about I can come back to you. It's about I think it's about 40 to 50. Yeah, I will come back to you with.
So we don't actually have speed tests.
We didn't do particularly speed tests, but the traffic can't have this average speed.
So you're putting speed raised platforms in, and to reduce speed when you don't know what the average speed.
We do know. Sorry, I don't have the number for now, but I can check online for you now.
I think perhaps if we could wait for that, actually.
I don't have that on my hand. But
It would be helpful for making a decision, Helen.
Talking about the height of the platform, are you?
Well, yes, because they've suggested that we raise it to reduce the traffic speed, and I'd like to know what the average
Yeah.
speed is that they're wanting to reduce it from.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
If David.
I know the
can find
speed
it.
is 50, but is
It's
the
being
average
exceeded.
speed 50 or is it a lot higher?
I drive it every day, like it, you're looking close to 60 most of the time.
Exactly.
And then
Yes.
my 2 cents worth as well. Have a look at the traffic flow on all the way back up Wigram onto Birmingham and then all the roundabouts around there. Because the moment you put in lights there, everything's going to come to a stop. It's going to be a mess.
Okay, look, I think we can't have people commenting from the gallery. It's probably been helpful, actually. So
I would like to know what the average speed limit is.
yeah, if David could find it. I've got a question
Yeah, we'll find in,
from Sarah and then Tyler, back to Tyler.
So I'm just curious with this raised platform, do we know how much having an signalled intersection will reduce the speed and then how much more it would be reduced by having a raised platform?
Kind of my question.
yes, I think in our newsletter recently for Lincoln Road, there's on the council's website, a newsletter, it said speed have been reduced between 5 to 13 kilometers per hour for vehicles traveling through the intersection.
Okay, and so is that because, is the justification for the raised platform because of Napunawai, the cyclists and pedestrians? If it was any other intersection where we were just putting signalised there, we wouldn't necessarily be putting in a raised platform, is that correct?
I think that's how to say, this approach. What Katahi is asking is a kind of a national policy, is a safe speed, is a yacht to zero, is kind of they like to push more raised platforms.
So we could be seeing this overall rather than specifically because it's at Napunawai where there'll be increased foot traffic and cyclists.
Yeah, we will, yes, yeah, I think that's right. We try to, how to say, mitigate potential risk for pedestrians and cyclists.
Yeah, I guess just being a driver and recognising the impact on traffic flow, and it's a really congested area further up there, as you know, somebody said before, and so what the impact will actually be on drivers with this reducing of the speed and because of the raised platform.
Yes, well, mainly is for vehicle speed, reduce vehicle speed, so can provide a safer environment for all the road users.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with having it safe. I'm just wondering, you know, we've got to mitigate the risk.
Yeah.
You know, at what cost? And
Okay. Question from Debbie. Back to Debbie.
Yeah. So we are thinking that it's going to look very similar to Lincoln Road, Whiteley, Barrington, but you'll agree that there is a significant difference in the road because one entry, you're entering into a 30k area within Addington. So with this one, you're not entering into a 30-kilometre area.
That's
right. So I'm just wondering, Madam Chair, whether or not we adjourn for 5 minutes whilst David looks for the speed.
Yeah, I got a speed. The average speed, we got a traffic count survey in March 2021 on Wigram Road, which is show average speed 58.3 kilometers, and 85 percentile speed is 63.8.
So this is a
Wigram Road between Hayden's and the roundabout.
So this is a commercial area.
No,
commercial.
Yeah, that time was was 60 speed limit.
Yeah,
but
so
it was lower later.
So we haven't done a speed test recently. Good point, Andrew.
Yeah.
That at that time it was 60 kilometres, so they were sticking to the speed.
Mm.
So we haven't got another speed analysis since the speed has lowered.
No, that's right.
No.
No.
Is there any intention to do a speed analysis whilst the speed limit has come down to 50? Because you're saying that driver behaviour adhered to the 60 kilometres at that point. So we've got nothing to measure whether the driver behaviour has since reduced or the average speed limit has been reduced. We haven't got anything since the reduction.
No, we didn't do any traffic cuts after that. Yeah.
How long would it take to do one?
It takes a week. Yeah, we can arrange, not in the school holiday, so not, yeah. We can arrange one maybe in November or later October.
Thank you. I'm going to have to move on, if I could, to Tyler and then Henk, and then we'll have to move to debate. Thank you. Tyler?
Yeah, I did want to ask about some numbers, and I wanted to talk about averages. I remember the traffic team came to council in a briefing and gave us some fatality, quite eye-opening stats around fatalities, injuries of the sort, around speeds. And Andrew or David, I'm wondering if you guys have any stats on hand around, because I remember there was a slide, it had per 100 drivers, I think it was on average 4, between 2 and 4 went well over, up to 20 k's over the speed limit. I'm wondering if you have any of those stats on hand to be able to provide some perspective on the, I guess, driver behaviour.
Sorry,
That's fine. That's fine. I know I'm throwing you in the deep end there.
That's right.
You're welcome to come to the table.
Thank you. Sorry, was that a question about Wigram Road specifically, or is it in general?
In general.
Okay. So what's I think what's of particular interest in the speed data is that 85th percentile speed. The top 15% are the ones that we look to for traffic calming, and they're arguably the ones who are the most risk. And it does actually vary quite wildly between sites. So I think it would be difficult to generalize and try and apply it to this case. But yeah, some sites have an average speed and an 85th percentile speed that are actually very close to each other. Probably what's of more risk is when you have a 50k road, you have a mean speed of 50 or just under, but the 85th is really quite high. And what that, in a nutshell, what that means is you've got people traveling at all different speeds, and that's what can cause frustration and people behaving in unsafe ways. So it's far better to have the speeds a lot tighter and closer.
Okay.
I don't know if that's answered your question.
No, it has. So in a 50 speed, in a 50 kilometre area, would you say that the average road user, well, not actually, that top 15% would be a bit more frustrated in comparison to the ones that drive in a 60? I mean, do they adhere to the 60 rule, but not quite so much in the 50s?
I think in the past we've had some evidence that that vehicles can gravitate to speeds which they feel is safe and suitable for the environment. And you can see that also when, say, roadwork signs are left out. Might have a 30 sign left out and there's not a lot of activity, and that some people will adhere to that and a number will assess it for themselves and ignore it. And sometimes those speeds will be considerably higher than what they would have gone through if there was activity there. It's actually quite a hard question to answer too.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You answered it well. You're an expert, man, so appreciate it, David. Thanks.
Sorry, I got more information. I found another one aside. Just a couple of meters away is in February 2022.
Yeah,
I think that's already lower to 50, right?
Yeah.
February 2022, the average speed was 50.3. 85 percentile was 55.2.
So when did it get lowered?
I'm wondering, Deb, if I could actually just move on to Henk. Who
I think it was late 2021. It could be
maybe late 2021. Yeah, we can figure out. But these ones down after the lower to 50.
Thank you, Henk. And then we've got Mark. And then I think we'll have to go to debate. Thank you.
As an estimate, and I know you can't tell me accurately, but as an estimate, how much do just traffic lights slow the traffic down?
You mean the delay?
Yeah, how much, like you put traffic lights in a road,
Yeah.
it's going to slow traffic down, right?
We'll
It's not
slow
gonna
down
speed it up.
on Wigwam. Yes, we did have some traffic modeling.
And then how much is a raised platform going to further slow it down?
Further slow down, like
Just have some numbers.
in the newsletter, it said they didn't say any slow down in timing. It slow down in speed was 5 to 13 kilometers for the speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just stoplights.
No, that's a platform.
That's a platform.
Platform.
How much a stoplight's going to slow down?
The traffic lights can bring some delay to Wigwam Road compared to existing layout. I think the number is about 12 seconds average on. So just 12 seconds for the PM peak. 20 seconds in the AM peak for city-bound on Wigwam.
So you would expect the traffic,
traffic on Wigwam Road will have more delay, traffic.
So how much would you expect it to slow down?
There's a delay in the travel time.
Yeah.
If we don't have a platform, so they will travel through at like a 50K, or if there's green light, or if there are no.
I'm struggling with that. I'm struggling with your expectations of what you're doing. You're putting traffic lights in, that's fine.
Yeah.
But they're going to slow traffic down.
The traffic light?
Yeah.
If there's the traffic light will bring some delay to the journey time. That's an average 12
slow
seconds.
down.
Slow down like 12 seconds.
So now you're going to slow it down again.
If there's a platform, will temporarily slow down the vehicle traveling through the intersection. So make it at a lower speed. But you can really hard to say how many seconds because the intersection is only about.
Yeah, but my experience is that apart from the red light runners, not many people travel too fast through a stop sign, through a stoplight. I mean, there are some idiots. There will always be idiots, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm struggling with having to slow the traffic down twice. Once with the stoplights and another one with the raised platform. And I struggle to agree with that unless we have some numbers on expectations.
It's really hard to say the platform slow down how much because the intersection say about 30 meters long. The speed was about say 13K lower. So that will be only several seconds to go through this 30 meters long intersection. So we'll only slow down vehicle a few seconds. That's we can do a quick.
I think another way to look at it is that the signals themselves, if they're green, won't have a significant effect on slowing vehicle speeds.
Right.
But a raised platform on a green signal will. The signals also have an effect on slowing traffic by the very nature of stopping the flow and also having the cars banking up behind them and then moving on again.
Thank you. I've got a question from Mark and then we'll have debate. Mark?
I didn't really have a question. I was happy to move the staff recommendation, but Debbie's got a question there to go.
Okay.
Following on from what he was saying, just the mere fact that there are lights present, even on a green light, generally speaking, driver behaviour is to be ready in case an orange light comes on. So to me, that would naturally slow people down. What is the, just offhand, what is the cost of putting lights in, and also what is the cost for the raised platform?
Yes, putting the lights. The traffic lights is about $352,000. And the raised platform itself is about $200,000. Yeah. So if we put this, we put the raised platform is actually $200,000.
Did you say 200,000 for a raised platform?
Yes, we need to do like a drainage. We need to.
That's an extra
Sorry,
question.
200.
Yeah.
200,000.
200,000 on
Thank
Do you have a
Can I just nip things in the bud here too? Is this on our budget for this coming year?
It is in the project budget. Yeah.
Yes. So
project budget can
if
cover
we
it.
pass it, it will happen. It's not. It won't be affected by the long-term plan.
No, it's already have budget in
budget there.
Project, yeah.
Okay, so I think we've probably debate or talked questions through. I'll ask you, both of you, thank you for coming. Ask you to go back to the gallery. And we've got a motion, a recommendation from Mark that we proceed with part 3 to 20.
Madam Chair, can I suggest to make a recommendation?
Andre's got a question.
Yeah.
Can I suggest you put my amendment to approve the plan without a raised platform at the intersection, and then if that fails, go back to the staff recommendation that Councillor Peters has moved.
I'll second that, Andre.
Well, hang on, Mark has moved
Mark
recommendation.
Yes.
So we need a seconder. If you don't have a seconder, then Andre can move, or I'd reckon move as an amendment.
Okay. So I'll second Mark's resolution, but if you want to move an amendment, Andre, we'll debate that first.
Okay, well, happy to move it as an amendment.
Yeah,
I'll second Andre's.
Moving an amendment that we don't proceed with the raised platform.
We proceed with the staff recommendation, excluding the raised platform. Yep.
Okay.
And I second that.
And you second that. So we have an amendment on the table from Andre and Debbie. Do you wish to speak to this, Andre? I presume
I do.
Thank you.
Yes, I don't see justification for a raised platform here. There is a signalised pedestrian crossing going in. That's a huge safety improvement from the status quo. There's also finally going to be footpaths. This is not a heavy pedestrian area. It's an industrial area ages away from amenities. Halswell Road upgrade is about to take 3 years. Halswell Road's going to be at a standstill for literally 3 years. That's going to send a whole lot more traffic down Wigram Road. Wigram Road is going to be an absolute standstill for years, and even worse with the raised safety platform. That traffic's going to bank up all the way to Aidenfield Drive and beyond. That is going to seriously increase driver frustration, which actually quickly makes things more dangerous in many ways. This is a good project. It is needed. We need an intersection here. We need lights here. But putting a raised platform here and spending an extra $200,000 is exactly how we go about losing public confidence in what is a very good and very important project. There are so many areas around Halswell that have been crying out for pedestrian safety improvements for years. There is nowhere for school kids to cross Zabies Road. There is nowhere for school kids to cross Dunbars Road. There is nowhere for pedestrians to walk on Cashmere Road. They are cheating with death. People have been hit there before. I'm so surprised no one's died there already. To me, it seems like I've been elected member, ever since I've been elected member, it often seems like we don't have money for getting kids to school safely or even new footpaths. We've got a $0 budget for new footpaths, but somehow we've got $200,000 for a raised platform here that we don't seem to need. How on earth do we not have money to get kids to school safely or even new footpaths, but we've got $200,000 to put a raised safety platform in an industrial area? I think our priorities are wrong and I can't support it. This is madness.
Thank you. Any other people who wish to speak?
As seconder to Andre's suggestion, I concur wholeheartedly with this. I believe that we certainly need to have the confidence of the community in regards to this. I would like to see that this amendment is agreed upon because what we can do is monitor it, and if it becomes a problem, then we can look at it further down the track. But as Andre has highlighted, this is an industrial area. We've already lowered the speed to 50 k's. We already have the lights in and pedestrian signalling and so forth. Having the lights there in itself will raise awareness to drivers. So this is why I will be supporting just the lights. Well, the staff proposal excluding the raised platform, because like Lincoln Road and Whiteley and Barrington, we're not leading into an area that's 30 kilometres.
Thank you. Mark, to speak.
Thank you. Whilst I can understand Councillor Moore's sentiment, I'm going to use the words of a previous board chair here, who actually sits in the room with us tonight in honouring us with his presence. In Mike Moore's words, let's do it once and do it right. The staff are proposing the raised safety platforms here for a good reason. It's to make the environment as absolutely safe as we can for the vulnerable road users that we know are going to be using this road. There's a major cycle route that is a part of this entire upgrade. So we're introducing facilities for the vulnerable road users to be in this mix, and we're not prepared to put in the safety features that will actually protect them to the degree they need to be protected. I'm sorry, but I don't agree with trying to retrofit this later. We need to do this once and do it right and build this environment as safe as we can. We've seen through the submissions that people do pedestrianise through this area. There are workers in the industrial area that walk through here. There are people that walk their dogs. There are all sorts of people that transit through this intersection. And with that, the cyclists on the major cycle route through the Little River and onward through into Ngāpurinawai, with the Netzel coming in, there's going to be people that are going to be, not everyone's going to get to there by their cars. So we've got to make this as safe as we can for the vulnerable road users that are going to be using this environment. So I'm sorry, I can't support not putting in the raised safety platforms because I want to have it survivable should someone get hit, because there will be people hit there, I'm sure, and we want to have it so they can survive when the drivers make an error. So I can't support this, and I can understand your frustration, but I think we need to do this right first time.
Thank you. I'd just like to say I'm a bit conflicted on this. I tend to believe in raised platforms, and yet the Halswell reps are against this. I tend to like to go with the representatives. I think the point to make is that the 200,000 will go back to the general pool. We won't be able to take it and use it for safety improvements elsewhere. It doesn't, unless things have changed, it doesn't happen like that. So it's just lost. It was lost into that general pool of money for council. So my tendency is to go with what the staff are in fact recommending. Again, it's a philosophic position. I think I'm actually keen on raised platforms, and I think they help safety.
I've got no problem with raised platforms. I have a problem with putting stuff in place without knowing what the expected results are going to be. Now, surely to goodness, we've got heaps of stuff out there like stoplights with no platforms and with platforms. We should be able to give a reasonably accurate estimate of our expectation of what this is going to do to the traffic flow. Now, I'm not a traffic engineer, not by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just a driver. And so 5 seconds or 2 seconds or 7 seconds doesn't mean a lot to me. What would talk to me is if somebody could tell me that the expected lowering of the speed limit around that area was going to drop by 10k, and then the raised platform was going to drop it by another 5 or 6. I could understand that. I'm not sure that I understand what the expectations are. That's my sort of reservation. I'm not anti-platform or anti the stoplights by any means, but I'm anti making a decision, not knowing what it is that we're expecting to decide on.
Okay, thank you. Sarah?
I'm just curious, Gamal's not present, there's 8 of us. What happens if when we vote,
If it was for all, it goes back to the staff resolution, or does it?
The original
They have-
motion. The original motion.
It goes back to the original
Status quo.
motion.
So the
So we vote on the
amendment won't
amendment?
have been passed, yeah.
vote on the amendment, and then if it's equal, then we go back and vote on the, and if it's equal at the staff recommendation?
It's not passed.
So if there's 4 and 4.
Yes, I'm not
4
quite
and
sure
4
what happens there.
It's not passed, yeah.
It's not passed. So
So
it
the
has to be a minority to be
The whole
passed.
thing failed.
You're right, might change it.
It's Helen, the amendment
I think
is
that's right.
equal, and then we go to the resolution. Does that just lie on the table, or does it get lost completely?
I think we need a
So
minority.
say when we,
Need a majority.
the amendments lost
What?
and the resolutions lost,
Goes back to staff.
does it then lie on the table, or is it lost completely? It's a bit tricky.
Well, I mean, I suppose it's open for staff to bring it again, but
Helen, can I,
Yes.
beforehand, because I understand as a
No,
seconder, I've got a right of reply, but before I do, Andre, do you wish to use your right of reply?
Well, hang on just a minute. I'll just check. I mean, Faye's
We can find that out
on
while we
this.
continue.
Is there anyone else who wants to speak?
Oh.
Tyler?
Just a thought. I
Yes.
think if this amendment loses, it would be in the board's best interest to just pass the staff recommendation. What you losing? In lieu of losing it completely,
I know. Yes.
which is good governance in my opinion.
Yes.
Can I
Yes. Now I've got.
just counter?
Is there anyone else who wants to speak? Sarah, Marie,
Okay, so Andre,
Tyler,
No, I'm just going to vote.
are you happy with the actual amendment, or?
We'll see.
We'll see. Okay.
Helen, Andre has a right of reply.
Yes, certainly. But I just want to check that everyone's clear.
Andre?
Just going back to Faye and this.
no, it needs to be passed by a majority. So
Yeah.
if there is no majority, then there is no court decision on it.
Okay. So I tend to agree with Tyler that if the amendment's lost, I think we do need to pass the actual resolution. Otherwise, the whole funding is potentially lost. Debbie, and then we'll go to.
Okay, it's second.
Andre.
Oh, I've got a right of reply, but does Andre wish to have a right of reply first, being the amender?
I think only the.
I think all I'd say with
Go
my
ahead.
right of reply is-
Go
is I
ahead,
think-
Andre, then, and if you could check that for Andre,
Okay.
right of reply.
Thank you. Usually I'm very open-minded to raised platforms. I totally understand their reasoning. A lot of the time they make sense. But in this case, traffic is going to be so far banked up Wigram Road that drivers get frustrated. They make risky calls at the lights. I legitimately think this particular raised platform will make it more dangerous, not less dangerous, because drivers will be so frustrated they'll be making those riskier calls to try and get through that last set. I'd also push back on the idea that doing this without a raised platform would mean it's unsafe. That would mean that every intersection in Christchurch is unsafe because it doesn't have a raised platform.
That's right.
What we're doing here with lights will make it a whole lot safer than it is currently. And it's going to be a whole lot safer than almost every intersection in Halswell. It's going to be a whole lot safer than all of those areas with also nowhere for kids or anyone to cross the road either. This will be one of the safest areas in Halswell, in fact. That is a win. But that's all from me.
Thank you. Now, in theory, you can only speak once, but look, I'll let you speak. And then
Just as second, I just want to emphasise what Andre said, that we need to gain public confidence and trust. And I believe that it would be easier to put in a raised platform than take one out. I can only imagine an incredible public outcry from the community if we were to put one in. So, yeah, I totally concur that what Andre said. Yeah. Are we going to put raised platforms in every intersection?
Thank you. So I'm going to have to put the amendment. Faye,
Can I just clarify
Yes, would
that what we've got on the table is, so the motion moved was the staff resolutions of 3 to 20. The proposal is to instead approve only staff recommendations 4 to 20. That takes out the raised platform.
Is it 3 to 20 minus the raised platform? Because everything else in that 3 you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just taking out the raised platform.
so we are taking on the amendment. We are taking out the raised platform. Is everybody clear on that?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is quite difficult. I'll put the amendment. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
No.
Against?
No.
No. Show of hands, please.
For
For the amendment.
For the amendment?
1, 2, and Andre, 3, and
he
against?
No, he was 4.
No.
I thought you said 4.
No.
Against?
Against.
So it's
Okay.
4, 5.
5.
4.
Now you're welcome. 5.
Yes, it counts 5. It's
So
5.
you're welcome to call a division
Yes.
if anybody wants to.
Yep, it's called
Yes,
division.
Mark has called a division.
What does that mean?
So
That means
Go
it's
round
recorded, so
the
you'll be
table.
reflecting the public.
normally recorded. Mark,
Against.
Sarah,
For the amendment.
for the amendment.
For the
For the
amendment.
amendment.
Oh.
Tyler, against.
No.
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 And no for me. So that's 5-3. We now move to the actual formal resolution.
Staff
And that's the
recommendation.
staff recommendation.
Now that's, I'm just making a point here, that's 3 through 20, and we'll subsequently deal with recommendations 1 and 2 because they are only recommendations to council. They're a part A, so specifically about,
So are we able just to move it, Faye, or are you wanting it broken?
No, we've broken it.
You've broken it.
We'll do it 3 to 20
Okay.
is what's on the table.
So all those in favour of the staff recommendation, which is now our board's recommendation, say aye. Aye. Against? No. And are you wanting your vote recorded, Andre?
I support yes.
Okay, thank
Sorry,
you.
what was?
Are you wanting your vote
Against
recorded, so it goes officially?
What did Andre say?
He said yes.
And I'm likewise.
And
But are we just voting against the raised platform or against the whole proposal?
Against the whole thing.
Well, how do we separate it? Because I'm okay with the traffic lights, but I'm not okay.
Well, we have done a division on the amendment, which is the
Our
raised
votes are
platform.
as good as already recorded against that, Debbie.
That's recorded, and now we want
So
to
I'm
vote
happy to
on
support it,
the
then
full
I'll support it.
resolution. So if you're against it, which Andre is, have your vote recorded.
Should we note in the minutes that they're against the raised platform for the substantive?
Yeah.
No, we can't do that. But sorry, I'm unclear, Andre. Did you vote in favour of the
Staff recommendation.
Of the staff recommendation?
Yes.
You did. Thank you.
Oh, did you?
Yes, you did.
I got that wrong. Thank you.
Yeah.
I got it wrong too.
Yes.
So Dee, are you voting against it?
Well,
That's the whole lot.
Yeah, it's just the whole lot.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay.
You're one abstention from Debbie. Well, thank you very much, and thank you, staff.
So I was for the staff recommendation.
That's right. Yes. Thank you very much.
Forward. Yep.
Wow.
Are we doing a? Are we doing a?
1 and 2.
Are we doing a division on the substantive?
No.
No. I mean, you can have your votes recorded against it. It's probably the
She
easiest.
didn't vote against it. She
Yeah, but can we call for division on it?
You don't need to because everybody
Everyone
clearly.
Everyone was for.
No, well, I wasn't. I was abstaining.
One abstention.
No, one abstention.
Oh, so that will be recorded.
It's recorded.
Okay.
So you can make Debbie as an extension.
We'll make sure of that.
So now we need
Number 1 and 2.
recommendations to council.
Okay, wow. When we looked at this,
Mark and
Second.
thank you.
What's this for?
Just 1 and 2.
Number 1 and 2.
Of
Staff recommendation to council.
Special vehicle.
A board.
The vehicle lanes.
are we still talking Item 8.
Yes, it's the special vehicle lanes, it's the cycle lane proportion. It has to be approved by council.
Happy to move.
Yep.
It's been moved and seconded, Andre.
Thanks, Andre.
Happy to support.
Approve, all those in
Lose, you
favour?
lose.
Aye. Against, carried. Well, when I and Marie looked at this one, we thought it was fairly straightforward. Yes, interesting.
Good work, team.
Sorry?
I suggest we do a 5-minute break.
We'll have a 5-minute break. Yes.
Yeah.
So there's been a suggestion from Jess that we have a 5-minute break. I think it's probably needed.
That's a good idea.
So we'll be back in 5 minutes. Are we
6:28.
watching time?
You got it right, baby. Yeah.
Good night.
Was that?
No, it's not.
No,
Oh,
I just forgot to eat.
oh.
That's so bad. That's so bad.
That's sad.
I woke up with a coffee and then I.
We are back online.
Sophie, have a seat.
Great, thank you. So we're back online. So are you okay, Tyler, there, or for a moment?
I'm a councillor, this is the forum.
Mr. Maslow's running.
Just looking after you.
Don't tell him.
Notice presentation of petitions, item 6, there are none. Item 7, the notice of motion read Denton Park trees. Would you like to read out your notice of motion, Mark,
Certainly
and
can.
speak to it? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the notice of motion is that the Community Board advocate to Council for a project to be included in the 24 to 34 long-term plan to progressively remove the cedar trees along the western boundary of Denton Park, neighbouring present properties, and replace with 2 new trees per removed tree as per the Council's tree policy in years 24-25 and 25-26 and 26-27, and in conjunction with the Urban Forest Plan tree planting program. So we heard the deputation or the public forum to this from the residents this afternoon or this evening, and there's a real need for some change here with these trees. I have visited this site on 2 occasions with 2 different arborists. Mike was there at the first meeting, and Hen, and we felt we had some agreement there that Jonathan the arborist had agreed that hey, these trees are, I think the words were past the use by date. The residents have again told us tonight why they're past the use by date, and unfortunately our previous board, when this came back in an area report, we missed it, and we can only apologise to the residents for missing it in that area report. And this notice of motion tonight is to try and get this back on track, moving towards the long-term plan, to have a project proposed into the long-term plan to try and get this actually happening for the good of the residents. And also, I would say for the good of our board, in the fact that as a board, we had a meeting on site with our previous chair and a yet to be elected member and a previous member who brought this motion today, try and help rectify it. And hopefully we can get this passed tonight to give the residents some hope. We had heard them suggest they'd like all of the trees out at once. Unfortunately, I don't think that's possible. And I think this staged approach is our best attempt to try and land this into the long-term plan so that we can, suggest over time we're going to get this sorted. So I would really urge that those around the table would support this tonight to try and get this on progression towards getting into the long-term plan so that we can have this happening for the good of the residents around Denton Park along Kathleen Crescent. And I have circulated around the emails the previous notes that we had from Matthew Pratt of the meeting that took place, and also a snapshot from the previous area report. So I think I've tried to provide as much context as I can, and happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Now, is there a seconder?
Yeah.
Sarah, thank you.
I'd like to make an amendment.
Yes, I can take an amendment. Yes.
Can I do the amendment?
What's the amendment?
The amendment is, well, firstly, I don't believe it's strong enough. And I'll say why. Because in 2016, Astor Place in Halswell requested the same because of extreme health conditions. That still today has not been done. I believe that by doing it in a staged, I think that's very, I would hope to think it would be done, but I would like to see, and I'm happy for the board to help, write an amendment because I simply don't believe it's strong enough. I would like to see that they're removed immediately. As the deputation said, it is people, it is people, it is people. He's been working on this for 27 years of his life, cleaning up the dross on his own property, preventing drainage problems that would incur on his property because of the council overflow. So I would actually like to see that it's done before Christmas, to be quite honest. This has been going on for such a long time, and we need to nip these things in the bud where they're taking way too long. 2016 and Ethel Place in Horsell still has not been done. They were silver birch trees where the arborist promised that we will never plant silver birch trees in residential again, and yet they still remain. So with if
you'd like to move an amendment,
I would like to move an amendment that all trees are removed before Christmas.
Staged approach.
No, I'd like to move an amendment that all of these trees are removed before Christmas 2020.
So the motion is to advocate to the council for a project to be included in the 2024 to 34 long-term plan, which won't be out before Christmas.
Well, we're talking health issues here, and this is a separate issue. It's a health and safety issue, which is paramount. I understand about the long-term plan.
Can I tidy up this amendment? Because I think we'll have to debate it. You're planning to move that we remove the trees in this year's plan, or at least
because of health and safety. It's not for any other reason. It is people, it is people, it is people. And we've had that outlined. If we do it in a staged approach, we're going to end up with the same situation in Astor Place, which still has not been removed. Did you hear what I said, Helen?
I'm just trying to.
Shall I pause?
Advice here. So we do need to have an amendment, and Faye is saying that if you wanted the amendment, you'd have to get a report. If you wanted to do it faster, you'd have a report to come.
It's out of order. Out of order because it's impossible.
It's going to get.
It's out of order because it's impossible.
Die a slow death.
Approval hasn't been given.
That's what I'm trying to.
You could reword it to stress urgency.
Debbie, sorry. Approval hasn't been given to remove the trees. The proposal is to advocate that this be a project in consideration of the long-term.
I guess what I was trying to emphasise, like I was just speaking to Councillor Tyler here, that I'm trying to stress the absolute urgency because of health and safety.
That would need to be a separate notice of motion.
I think that would be a completely separate issue, and I think probably largely unachievable.
Can I speak to what this is like this?
Faye, can I just defer to Faye as to where we are in proceedings? And
so we've got a mover and we've got a seconder. We've spoken. So we now are in questions and then debate.
Well, can I have a question? When is this?
We haven't got anyone. Now we've got a possible
being removed.
Who do we ask questions of? Is it the mover? Is it Mark? Yes, because we haven't. It's not a staff recommendation. So I guess we'll go to questions, but we're happy to take an amendment if we can firm up on wording.
I've got
Marie
questions.
Yes.
So I've come to this issue cold, still not knowing anything, but I do appreciate the resident who had presented, and I do sympathize, and but we do have to come in and make a balanced and well-informed decision on this. And my questions relates to, so Denton Park is a recreation reserve under the Reserves Act of 1977, and it has a park management plan. So have we looked at that park management plan, whether the removal of these trees are in accordance with the park management plan, and also whether any of these trees are listed significant trees in the district plan that the residents are wanting to remove? So those are other things that we need to look into before we make a decision on this. And other questions, I mean, you don't have to answer this now. These are just what's running through my mind. So yes, I did ask about total removal versus selective removal. What was their option? And how much would it cost to remove all those 33 trees?
Good answer.
And if, so will there be a resource consent process in the event that we do this? And also, if we advocate for this project to be included in the coming long-term plan, what project in the LTP will need to be replaced or deferred in lieu of this proposed project that you have put in front of us?
Health and safety. It's health and
And because the
Wow.
tree, there is also,
Cross-examination.
and also you did mention, as per the tree council's tree policy. So that is the replacement of the trees, but the tree removal will also have to be in accordance with the tree policy. There are some policies about removing trees, so that has to be looked into as well.
I'm sure it does, but at the end of the day, you've heard the presentation today.
Yes.
Where it's the people, it's the people, it's the people. If we as a community board and a council want to ignore the people, good luck to us.
Well, we
But
have
then
with their store place in
every-
Horsville.
Every issue that comes up to the board is all about people. Then we would agree to everything that the people ask us of. We need to make a balance.
I understand
balance
that.
and
That is why I've
yeah.
asked for a balanced approach to this rather
And
than a,
yeah,
let's do
so
it right now.
that's all my
Because
questions that need to be
get a
considered.
notice of motion on the agenda, it's going to be mellow enough that you can get it passed to get it from the system. And that's why it's as mellow as it is.
And for me, I would support this to advocate to council for a project to be included to progressively remove the cedar trees along the western boundary of Denton Park, yada, 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 as per the count, in accordance with the council's tree policy, because in this wording, the tree policy only comes into play when you replace the trees. The tree removal should also be in accordance with the tree policy.
Okay, so
the policy
health council
comes
thing,
up.
the effect it's having on the residents has no counter. And to answer your question about resource consent, I was out there with the city arborist, and yes, it's going to need resource consent to get these trees down. So there has been extension discussion around this. Henk was there, Mike was there, I was there, Kim Moss was there. We've had a big meeting about this. Jonathan, the arborist, was on side with the idea this needed to happen. He gave us some options. We're selecting one of those options to try and progress through the board towards the long-term plan. So you can either support or you don't.
No. So, I mean, so the other information that's missing for me is whether it's in accordance with the park management plan and the district
You'd have a
plan.
better idea than me at that because you know where to find everything in the system.
Yes, but it's not my role in this hat that I'm wearing right
Let's
now.
put it this way, good luck to any elected member who wanted to try and find that sort of information. It's really, really hard to get to and find. So I haven't got that in front of me. I haven't read it. I don't feel I need to. I feel I'm trying to get this into the system so that we can get progress for our residents. And I'm sorry if my heart is not as structured as you would like as staff, but I'm trying my best as an elected member to try and get something done for my community and
Yes,
try to do the
but
right thing.
yeah, in what I was saying earlier, I would support this to advocate to the council, but to put the tree policy right up the top.
It's going to be part of the process.
Yeah, because the wording of the resolution was that the tree policy was to be considered only in the replacement. But it should include both the removal and
In
replacement.
which case, good luck ever getting a tree cut down in Christchurch because it won't happen.
Yes, now I just want to, so have you had your question, you haven't had the questions answered, have you?
Doesn't need to, I just
Yes. I mean, I wonder if in fact, Mark, if this goes through, if this is accepted, Mark could find the answers to those questions for
I'm
you.
sure we could ask.
Rather than change it now.
Staff or,
We can
Mike
ask
doesn't
Jonathan.
have to do it himself,
Yes,
you know.
yeah, no, but he finds out those.
Colin?
So we've got a resolution on the table. Debbie, you've got an amendment or a?
Well, how does this sound as an amendment or an addition? Or it might need to be a separate notice of motion, just steer me. Can we also add in conjunction for the staff to consider the removal of the silver birch trees in Astor Place in 2016. That was meant to be looked at and never.
Separate notice.
We'd probably have to have a
notice.
separate
All I'm saying is good luck with this, because that's how long it's taken. 2016.
One's got to try, Debbie.
Yes.
I agree.
I wonder if I could just point out, this is a recommendation. It goes, if you accept it, it goes through to the long-term plan possibilities. There's going to be constraint on funding. So our 3 councillors, if they support this, are going to have a lot of work to do to convince colleagues. So it's just a recommendation to council. Tyler, I've got a question from you, or comment.
It's for you, Madam Chair, actually, I think, or for the board. Wouldn't it be just feasible putting this in Mark's hands, letting this pass through, he fights for it at the long-term plan deliberations, to be quite honest, and then the council will decide on whether it goes, because all you're doing is advocating to council. I don't feel like we need to be passing all this through. I think it's just we vote on it, we can agree with it if we want to disagree with it, it's fine, but at the end of the day, it's in council's hand and Mark's hands. So I'm not going to handcuff Mark personally to try and advocate for his community. And also, there's some carbon things in this that I can see that are really beneficial. I'll talk about that in debate, but I just wanted to put that to the board. If you'd like to move forward with this, just to get this moving, and then go from there.
That kind of basically it's Sarah. And
yes, I'm just a little bit concerned about this. The removal under the tree policy. What impact would that, like, are we doing that or no? How does this work?
At present, no, it would have to be moved.
Let Mark worry about it.
The motion is only really talking about funding for a program. That's all it's talking about.
So we don't need to add that.
Isn't, well, you could add that part,
Well, I'd rather not.
but I'm just saying, there will, at some stage, there will need to be an approval for the removal of the trees. That will have to come to the board, and they need to be able, in a position to impartially decide at that time on the tree removal. This is just talking about a funding were that removal to go ahead.
Just advocating to council.
I mean,
Let's vote for it.
If I could speak on this, I'm in favour of this actually, because the trees are pine trees and they look pretty horrendous to me. So it's, on trees, I'm unequivocal often, but it also takes a lot of effort to get trees down. So Mark's going to have quite a battle at council to get the trees down. It took in the Riccarton 5 years of debate, and the trees went down eventually, but it was a long time. So Tyler and then Debbie. So I've just spoken on that. I support this, and I think it's going to be hard to achieve, but let's try it.
I'm happy to help Mark push this along for his community. I'm quite fine with this and as it stands, but also even if it does pass through, just noting that there are some carbon offset credits that we can get from this in regards to doubling up on the tree canopy cover and putting in native trees. If to put it in perspective, because I've done a lot of this with Riccarton, like a seeded tree would be around 14 kgs of offsetting carbon per year, a fully grown seeded tree, in comparison to 2.3 natives, which are about 20 kgs. So you're going up by 6 kgs of carbon offset per 2.3 native trees, which means we need a little bit more than 66 trees to go in that'll push us to that tonnage over the 50 years, but it's still going up then down in regards to carbon. The issue that I've got a little bit is the arborists put in trees between 3 to 5 years. We won't really start seeing some offsets until around that 5 to 10 year mark, which means that there's going to be a bit of catch up to go. But in lieu of our 2030 goals for carbon emissions, I think we're going towards the right direction. If you were going to double it up, putting in native trees, as long as they are teenage trees and they're well grown and they're on that same area. Because one thing I do know, and I wanted to note this, that my hesitancy is around arborists moving those trees away. So I'm quite happy to have them on the same site, but I would prefer not to have them 2 kilometres up the road. For example. Hence, I'm quite happy to support Mark's motion where it stands, and I'm keen to see how he gets it over the line and working with staff and getting it done.
Thank you, Tyler. Anyone else want to actually comment? Right, so I'll offer the resolution moved by Mark, seconded Sarah. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So all those, right reply at all?
Well, I think you've all heard my passion on this one. You've heard the passion of the community tonight. So I urge us as a board to support this, and let's give me the ability to go and fight this at council and try and get this done for them.
Thank you.
Andre raised his hand.
Oh, Andre, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, bloody good on you, Councillor Peters. Nice work. Happy to support.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. So we can move fairly quickly on to item 9. Proposed road names 80 Awatere Road and 38 near Carpenter Avenue.
Move that.
Move Debbie. Back.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? You weren't quick enough, Andre.
Serves you right for not being here, mate.
That's what happens when you're online.
Right. All those in
It's
favour
okay. I was
say aye.
physically there when they were
Aye.
requested.
Against? Andre, are you wanting to speak?
No.
In favour.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Now, can I go to number 11, which is Kitty Hawk Avenue, and then I'll go back to the Horswell local play spaces. So, Andrew, if you'd like to come to the table.
Happy to move.
Andre, it's you.
I'll second. Oh, there's a no.
That's a draw.
You go for
Andre
it.
moved.
Andre moved.
Sarah seconded.
Sarah
Oh, thanks.
seconded. Do you have any comments, Andrew?
No, I the update provided at the
Yeah.
last brief is probably sufficient. We think we've got a good template now for what is going to be an increasing number of these type of requests for these facilities. So I'm already working on one in Middleton right now. So
Well done.
Good work.
Thank you, Andrew.
hopefully this is successful, and it's a good balance between visibility but also not having people driving in and out too fast as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I'll ask you to stand back. Any debate on this?
No.
Makes a lot of sense.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Against? Carried.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
Didn't really.
Now we'll move on to item 10, Horswell local play spaces, landscape plans approval.
Excuse.
Thank you. Standing back. Okay.
And I hope you're on time as well.
So now there was mixed views on this in terms of, do we have staff to talk about it, or do we just let it lie on the table at this point? But anyway, there's mixed views. So if you've come, welcome, and Joe Gregg from Parks. So if you wish to take us through what's happening.
Yes, so obviously there's been a report which I take as read, but I've also prepared a bit of a presentation because of the time that has lapsed from the initial engagement until now, until the presentation of the concepts, just to explain, I guess, the process we've gone through with the feedback we received from that engagement and how we've developed the concepts from that.
Can I ask the time it's going to take?
I'm going to go really fast because
okay.
I've got childcare for my toddler. So
Okay, thank you.
Oh, we should have moved you up the agenda.
Okay, so basically this project is looking at 4 play spaces in this particular area of Halswell, the Westbrook Park, Ritter Reserve, Wales Reserve and Shamrock Reserve. They're all in very close proximity to one another. This project looks at all 4 as a whole. The project budget is 220,000, and this provides almost enough to do a pretty basic renewal at each of the parks. So this project was the opportunity to speak to the community and see how they would like that budget spent, whether that's across all 4 parks or whether they'd like to focus the budget on 1 or 2 spaces and repurpose the others. Council's level of service is to provide 80% of urban residents with access within 500 metres of play space. And what we could see from our mapping was that there's loads of provision just due to the distances between the play spaces in this particular area of Halswell. This is the current play provision. So the dark green shows that the residents in that area have access to 4 play spaces and parks. Then the slightly darker green is 3, the light green 2, and then no colour is they have access to 1 within 500 metres. Just on the right hand side of the slide is also showing the distances, so 220 metre between Rita and Westbrook. Westbrook and Wales 180 metres, and the largest distance is between Shamrock and Wales. So as part of the process, just prior to doing the briefing back to the community board, we wanted to look at options. So what the level of service and provision would look like if we were to remove and repurpose 2 spaces. So this example is looking at play removed from Rita and Wales. You can see that there's still that level of service in which all of the residents within the area has access to 1 or more play spaces within 500 metres. If you look at removing further, you can see the change in colouring there with the black spaces. This shows that there is an impact on those residents around Shamrock if there was play provision removed at Rita, Wales and Shamrock. So we're starting to have an impact on that level of service. And the next one is again looking at Westbrook and Shamrock if play was removed from there. So your traditional play. Again, you've got an impact to the residents at the bottom of the screen shown by the peach, sort of in grey colours. And again, if we were to look at just Westbrook and Wales, again, we've got an impact to those around, I can't quite read it, Wales, and also along that Causal Junction Road area. The community engagement was undertaken in 2021 through a variety of measures. We held a drop-in session at Westbrook Park. We had a meeting with the Halswell Residents Association, a Halswell Hub Connections meeting, and then obviously we had our online submissions as well. The submitters were asked how they wanted the budget spent. And over 50% of the submissions we received said that they would prefer to have council focus on 1 or 2 spaces and repurpose the others. And this was also expressed during the Halswell Connections meeting. Submitters were then asked how they would like to see what type of equipment and things they would like to see in the reserves. And this wasn't restricted just to play, it's also pathways, safety, signage, entranceways, and how they currently used each of the reserves. So from that feedback that we received, the first phase was looking at the majority of the submitters wanting us to focus our funding on 1 or 2 parks and to see what that impact may be on the play provision. So going back to that mapping, option 1 with the play removed from Rita and Wales had no impact. All of the residents still had access to 1 or more play spaces if we kept just Westbrook and Shamrock as built play spaces. The submissions were then analysed and we looked at the top 3 responses for each space and we tallied those up, and these effectively influenced what we would put in our concept plans. So the first place we looked at was Westbrook. The top 3 for this particular park was they like it is, with the built structures, the traditional sense of seesaw swings, slides, and climbing. We also thought that this park in particular had good surveillance, and the footprint in its current location meets setback requirements as well. So for this reason, we decided that we'd use the majority of the funds and focus on built structures in the traditional sense with a fort, swings, but would also make improvements to the space by adding in accessible play equipment, accessible pathways, entry points, a ramp entry into the play space itself, and signage. The honeycomb spinner is a piece of equipment that you can have several children in, but you can also, someone with disability can lie in and go slowly and get that spinning motion. The modular that's shown is an all ages modular. So you can't quite see it in the graphic there, but there is a little shop counter at ground level for toddlers for imaginative play. You have your slides, and then the cube structure at the end is more for sort of skills for primary school kids and up with the climbing and the balancing on the ropes. So next we looked at Shamrock, again referring back to that 1 or 2 spaces. Some of the items that were most frequently raised in the submissions were climbing, swings, and then a lot about forts, open space, picnics and fencing. Because we wanted to look at a variety of play across the 4 spaces, we decided to focus the funds on variety in terms of climbing, picnic and nature play. Looking at the design, we can use the existing footprint. We don't have to consider setbacks because we don't have a structure above 1.8 metres. So there's some savings there. We've also looked at providing a picnic space. This is an accessible picnic table. So again, improving the park with accessible entry. The types of nature play we've sort of indicated there is just a high level one. Logs provide children with a sort of managing risk. There's no obvious handholds, ropes. They've got to sort of make their way over the obstacles of the logs overlapping. Stepping rounds, probably not the best example there, but if you distance them out, they get to manage risk again by looking at the distance between each step. And then we've also created a little, we've created a bespoke wee game sort of based on feedback we received, not just for this space, but overall about children liking hide and seek. This came up in Ritter Reserve feedback, but also in others. So we've sort of made a wee play on that, creating a sign with some carved features that could be in Te Reo. So it could be flora and fauna like Pi Waka Waka, Kōwhai, where the children are learning, but they're getting in amongst the bushes and having a bit of a rummage and trying to find these things, which is just another element of exploration and different variety compared to the other spaces.
Can I ask, there is, I think, going to be a resolution that we let this lie on the table. So I'm just wondering if, quite tricky this, could I just ask Andre, you had your hand up, was it a question or in fact a resolution?
What was a question?
A question.
Just asking,
Andre?
Thank you. Asking about Shamrock and Wales Reserve in particular, understanding that the equipment is at its end of life, but at what point does it physically have to be removed? Because it appears as though the community would rather have that play equipment retained for the time being than have it removed altogether if it doesn't have to be.
My understanding for that, looking at the ages of the structure, so Wales is 43 years old. And Megan can probably talk to this. I think our limit is 30.
Yeah, so it's Megan speaking. From a lifespan perspective, we usually aim for equipment to have a lifespan of around 25 years, but it can be in for up to 50 with the right maintenance. For both Shamrock and Wales, they are getting quite close to the end of life. So our recommendation is that we would remove them like relatively soon. That's what the basis of this project was from initially, was that those 2 reserves needed to be renewed, but we kind of thought, let's look at it from a wider perspective and that holistic view around providing for the community and their community rather than just one park at a time.
Understood. Yeah. I guess what I'm asking is, do they physically have to be removed? Are they a danger? Are they a safety concern?
Yeah, I noted when I visited one of the pieces of equipment at Wales recently that it does require some substantial work. So the cost for that would make more reason to remove.
Now that's one of. Now that's
What item was it?
The spinning one at Wales was the worst condition, but we can get those assessed, but it's highly likely that they get assessed, and the recommendation is that they would be removed soon.
So sorry, that's one piece of equipment, not all of them.
I would recommend that all they are. Yeah. There is going to be a risk at some point.
Yeah, but there's but there's not necessarily a risk with all of that equipment at this point in time right now.
I would say with the age of the equipment that it would be within, I would look to remove it within the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just want some guidance from our board as to whether you want to refer this to a briefing, or do you feel able to vote on it today? I mean, obviously we'd bring you back. Tyler.
I would just like to know the implications from staff if we table it now. What would that mean for your unit?
So if we were to defer it, I think some items we could continue with, but as Megan says, there's others that would have to be removed fairly soon. In terms of timings and costs, we're finding that playing equipment, even from September until now, has increased again. So, and just even over the period of the 12 months, due to COVID and shipping and petrol costs of freight, everything's increasing. So there is a risk, and it remains a risk until the items are procured, that the budget will not stretch as far in 12 months' time.
I'll take it.
Potentially.
Okay.
I'll take 100. I'll take 100.
Well, just to clarify, it would be a 4-week deferral as opposed to an indefinite deferral or longer deferral, purely a 4-week deferral of decision.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it'll be about 4 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
So another month.
Yeah.
Okay. Debbie, you got a question?
Yes, please. Just wondering what the cost is to remove the items. Have we got a cost figure?
So we've done a costing on each of them, and it also includes the removal of, say, a soft fall area and things if items were coming back in, and that is around the $10,000 mark.
For both parks?
It depends on the amount of equipment, but for smaller parks, I think I've seen prices, and we've costed, say, for the swing set, the slide, and soft fall.
So what would you be doing with the items that are there? Would you be giving them away, or just dump them?
They would go to, we'd look at some sustainable way like recycling, but it wouldn't go to landfill.
Okay, so $10,000 for both parks.
Depending on the individual parts, or modular structures might be a little bit more, but if you're looking at just say Shamrock and Wales would be.
Okay, so my next question is, if you removed those because you want to focus with having really good equipment at the other two play equipment, as per our briefing last year, would you consider, like, if people just wanted to go down and play cricket, would you have like picnic tables and things? Would you put those in there as part of the reserve? We could work in with the likes of the local men's shed, something like that.
I think that's an opportunity that can be looked at, and it's something that I've noted for detailed design, is that following your tender and getting firmed up prices, or even your prices from the play providers for supply of items, if we find that we do have a shortage, but there's a desire to maybe put in some more picnic tables for Ritter, where you've got that open space, I think there's definitely a chance within that detailed design phase to look at partnerships. For example, the painted play path that we've got or proposed for Wales is a partnership with Sport Canterbury. So there's opportunities, I guess, where additional things were desired. We can certainly look at that, but in terms of our budget we have right now, probably be limited to what we're showing.
So you basically, just so I have an understanding for decision making, so you basically, which is what I thought, and this is what I had said to people, so basically you're wanting to remove it for health and safety reasons.
been a piece of equipment is at the end of its life. We cannot give it to other people. It just is, that's not a risk that we're.
And you're wanting to remove it simply because of the concern of the past life. It's gone past.
I also think, interrupt, like one of the things that we've highlighted through this project is that there's quite high provision within this community. And if you compare it to other parts of the city, you know, like there's a great opportunity for play. And if we're looking to look at it that holistic view, you know, it's not required that we renew all the time in every location if you can walk quite close by and get a similar play opportunity. So yeah, it is at the end of its life, but it's also around being wise about how we spend our ratepayers' funding.
Thank you. Now, I've got a question from Mark, and then I want some guidance from the board. Have you got a question, Mark?
I sure have. I'm struggling with the idea of taking out perfectly functional equipment that the community actually really enjoy and can use. And then on the back of that, would there be any possibility to partner with, we heard the men shed mentioned as a possibility to perhaps maintain the existing equipment that's there to extend its life rather than us rip it out at $10,000 to rip it out and have a community group like the men shed to help with that maintenance to extend its life further?
I think, and Megan probably can confirm this, but it comes around liability.
That's right.
It's all around playground standards and liability. We have people who are trained in the maintenance and installation in regards to playground standards. So I think that if you're bringing in a party that's not in that arena, you're opening yourself up to legal implications.
Okay, thank you. Now, I'd just like to get some guidance from Ruth. Do you want to let this lie on the table, go to a briefing, or go to the next board meeting, or are you comfortable making a resolution? Now, I'll suspend standing orders. Can I move out of standing orders, please? Seconder and Mark. So I might get you to stand back. And any deferral is not relating to the work you've done.
Okay, that is cool.
A bit of the process and how it came across from the communications team quite early.
Okay.
Thank you, Joe, for coming in. So just going round, what option do you want, Mark? I'm just trying to get a feel.
Taking my steer from Andre, I think I'd be happy to just have a breath for a month and he can consult his community and come back to us.
Thank you. Sarah?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I guess without having had a briefing, we're limited now in full understanding of this. Yeah.
Would you like a briefing if possible?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't want to give extra work to the staff unnecessarily, but I would want to be informed. I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
Yeah.
Debbie, what's your view?
Yeah, well, like I've said to people in background conversation in regards to this before it came today, I always said I wanted to hear the reasoning by the staff, and I suspected it was going to be regarding lifespan and health and safety, which is exactly what it is. It's coming down to liability, etc. So, you know, it's past its use by date, and I just think even in a month's time, I'm happy to go with the consensus of the board, but I'm just thinking even in a month's time, we'll probably end up resorting to the staff recommendation anyway, simply because of the liabilities, and it's past the use by date, which is what the staff have told us. So I'm happy to move forward today with the staff recommendation, but I'm also happy to go with the consensus because I don't think that it will change in a month's time. But I'm happy to go with the rest of the board.
Thanks. Tyler?
I'll let Andre go first.
I'll go Andre then, and then Henk. Andre? Are you there? We'll go to Henk and then back to Andre.
Oh, sorry, my unmute button wasn't working. There we go.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm still rock solid on deferring for 1 month. Can I please suggest that I'm able to move that if someone is happy to second, and then people can add a debate contribution if they so wish.
Hang on, I'm seconding that. You asked me today if I'll second it, so I'm seconding it.
So what I'll do, we can't move it at present because we're we're away from standing orders. So once we're back, it's going to be a resolution. Are you wanting? Do you wanting to go to the briefing first, or are you comfortable just going straight to the next meeting?
Well, there's a few things that I need to clarify. It doesn't necessarily need to be a briefing. It could be done verbally. It could be done by email. It could be a matter of me and a couple of others if they're keen to join staff. I'm sure we can figure that out.
Okay. Thank you. Hank?
Yeah, I'm struggling with some of the figures that we heard tonight, where stuff has got, this equipment has got a lifespan of perhaps 30 years or 25 years. And it's been in there for 40 years, and suddenly we're talking about liability this year. So there's plenty of, to me, there's plenty of fudge factor in this liability thing. And I don't think that's a very good. I don't think it's a very good argument at all. I don't like it because we're either abiding by the rules or we're breaking the rules. If the council's been happy to break the rules for 15 years, then a few more years really isn't going to make a difference. Let's not rush into things, really.
Thank you.
I agree with updating stuff, but this liability stuff, that's a bit of a, to me, it's a red herring when we hear that we've had 15 years of the council being liable for out-of-date equipment, which has been okay. Doesn't make sense.
It's been overlooked, I guess. So I'll just come back to Andre.
Are we moving back?
What about?
Oh, yes, I'll move that we move back to standing orders.
Hang on, Tyler has his
I'm good. Tyler's good.
No,
it's good.
If it isn't, oh,
I'm fine. I'm good.
You're fine. So I'll move that we go back to standing orders. Do I have a second? Otherwise, we're permanently in three things. All right. So we're back now formally. Andre, if you want to move a resolution.
Yes. Yeah, that was on the table until the next board meeting specifically.
Thank you. So Andre is moving that this lies on the table till the next board meeting. Moved Andre, seconded Tyler. Does anyone want to speak to that?
Please.
No?
It was moved, Andre seconded Debbie.
No.
Tyler.
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah. So all those in favour that it lies on the table till our next.
Can I speak to it, please?
You want to speak to it? Go ahead.
Yes, please. Yeah, no, I do just want to thank staff for what I think is a phenomenal job of putting together a plan with a very limited budget. I take my hat off to them, but I'm also aware that submitters and local residents weren't actually aware that 4 sets of swings, for example, would turn into one. And that playground equipment would be removed from 2 playgrounds altogether. I can understand the reasoning for what we're looking at, and I do understand the need to reduce costs, but I've ultimately got families to answer to in the area. I've actually received an email from an angry 3-year-old before about the removal of a swing set, and I'm not looking forward to more of them. But my particular concern here is that elected members have only been given 3 days notice of this agenda item. We've just heard from staff, it does appear as though one item of equipment needs to be removed. To be honest, I'm not surprised. That spinner, I'm pretty sure I injured myself and Razvan, my mate, also injured himself on that, I believe in 1999. So I imagine there's been many since. But it sounds like the situation's not clear on the other items exactly when they physically have to or need to be removed by. So we do just need a small amount of time to clarify what is needed and when. I've heard from families who have said they'd rather just keep equipment from the time being rather than have it removed altogether. But whatever the case, I do need to be able to get some form of public buy-in in whatever we are doing and trying to achieve. I need to know exactly what has to be removed, when it needs to be removed by, and I do just need to go and speak with those local families around those playgrounds before I can physically make a decision. I can't do that in 3 days. That's why I'm asking for a 1-month deferral so we can gather the necessary information. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark wants to speak to this.
Yeah, just quickly say that I'm happy to support Councillor Moore on this. Having more time to talk to the families and the residents is always a good thing. Moving at breakneck speed to push this through with us only having 3 days to get our eyes on it is, pretty scary. And the other point in this is that the previous briefing for this was over 2 years ago to a previous board. So half the board weren't even here. So it would actually be, I would feel a little bit dangerous in rushing into a decision tonight. So giving Andre an extra month to talk to people is a really good thing. And if you've got any questions, if we can get those clarified in a month with staff, that would be really good. And hopefully we can come to a happier place in a month's time to go forward.
Thank you. Anyone else want?
Oh, yes, just that the extra month will give us time to go round ourselves. Not that I'm an expert on equipment, but I'll certainly see if it, if it'll hold me on any of the swings or not. And if so, well, then no, it's pretty stable.
Thank you.
I'll try not to injure myself, Andre.
On the spinner. On the spinner. Yeah, it'd be good to see.
So say,
it's good for kids, toughens them up.
Read out the resolution, please.
I'll just put that's been moved that the report be laid on the table until the next board meeting to allow time for further discussion with residents.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm putting that to the board. All those in favour say aye.
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 Good, carried. Thank you. Now we're moving to the discretionary response fund. Marie, if you wish to come to the table.
So and an interest in one of these.
Marie has gone and Debbie's got a conflict with the...
No, I've got a perceived conflict, Helen.
Conflict with the night market. Sorry. Right. Marie, if you want to speak to this, or are you comfortable if...
I'm just comfortable if members have got any questions. You can see there that there are the applications that are there and just being aware of the limited budget that is in the reduced budget that is in the discretionary response fund for the year.
Yes.
And I'll just leave it there. There's those 5 applications.
Happy to move.
We have to
now we have to get
sorry.
Yes.
Can I just ask, I have attended in the past Living Waters. Is that
no? Well, no, it's for you, it's your call.
Decide.
Yeah.
Well,
you feel a perceived conflict.
No, if you've just attended, if you've been a member on the committee, no. That's good. Just having a look at them. If we exclude Debbie's one,
Southwest,
which is
Southwest
Night Market,
the Horsehall Twilight Market,
4th item. So we'll do 1, 2, 3,
and 5.
Yeah, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 5. Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to. I'll move. Mark second. 1, 2, 3, and 5. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against. Carried. Moving number 4 with Debbie standing back from that. Moved Mark, seconded Helen. Right. Any discussion? All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against. Carried. That's great. Wow. Thank you, Marie.
Thanks, Marie.
Yes, if you'd like to, you wanting to stay?
No, happy to be taken as read.
Right. Any questions? It's a good time to have it, isn't it? At the end of the meeting.
Right at the end of the meeting. Good time.
When everyone's tired.
I'm very happy to move this.
And
I thank staff for that.
Sarah moves, Tyler seconds.
Other way around.
Or the other way around?
Tyler moves, Sarah second.
Tyler moved, Sarah second. All those in favour say aye.
Actually, could I have a quick query?
Sure.
I was just looking at the traffic speeds on Richmond Ave has come into this area report. And there has been some email traffic in the last couple of days again from our residents there. And in light of the decision we've had tonight with a raised safety platform, this kind of comes back into play in the fact that we've still got this Richmond Ave, waving speed hump as a problem for our board. And at some stage, are we able to revisit that Richmond Ave speed hump and hopefully get some options from staff around what it would cost to upgrade that to a sharper incline, so that it actually becomes a more effective speed hump rather than the rolling speed hump that allows people to speed over it. That would be useful to have that fact in front of us if we could.
We've got a 200,000.
I know 200,000 is the entire thing, but this won't be the entire thing. This is just sharpening up the edges. So it should be a lot cheaper. And there's no drainage in the middle of it.
It'll be hundreds of thousands.
It's been an issue ever from the outset.
Yeah.
And
but we can get advice on
If you can get some advice on a lot of
Can you? Thank you.
that'd be handy.
That's great. So
And the other question, sorry, I had a second one as well, on the asbestos in Sockburn Park. Then I see there that they're looking at an action plan, remediation action plan for dealing with it. I would be picking that most of us around the table here, and maybe most of the staff as well, will understand we've got another park in our area that's severely affected by asbestos, and that being Kyle Park. And I'd really be interested to know if there was a remediation action plan ever created for that park, in the way of how could we possibly deal with that asbestos in that park and allow the park to be freed up again so that people can actually use it. One of the reasons I asked that is I've had a resident approach me who's heavily involved in the BMX, and they've got the the South Island Champs coming up in January, and part of the fenced off asbestos area there was what they used to use as their viewing point for such events. And because it's fenced off and called asbestos, they can't get into it and spectate from it. So seeing as action here on Sockburn Park to look at remediating it, I'd really like to investigate whether we can remediate Cole Park in a similar way with an action plan. That would be really handy to figure out.
Yeah,
There's some real questions around that, because there was no special dumping of asbestos soil from the car park.
I think, other than that,
Great, thank you. That's good, thank you.
So
Sarah.
on the wildflowers that were proposed for Sockburn, are they going to be somewhere else, or is the budget?
Don't know.
Bigger issues.
We can find out.
Find out.
I know a good place for the wildflowers. Carmen Road in Hornby, beside the railway, there's the dirt. That would look really good with wildflowers on.
It's not our doing. No, it's
We're going to do some Templeton Road.
A question.
Templeton.
In general, I'm happy to move the report. There was one submission that was flagged though, and I'm wondering if someone's going to talk to council on it around the equity and inclusion policy.
Yes.
About
there's been a majority view on that in terms of the board. So it was.
The question was, is there going to be somebody speaking to it?
Well, we have asked for that.
Yeah,
Yes.
Sarah's speaking to it.
So, yes.
Can I just say that the decision on the delegation to decide who speaks sits with Marie and Helen, and as such, they're currently in discussions as to whether that will take place. There needs to be agreement between the both of them. So we can't confirm that that will take place yet. So
sure.
Does that sorry?
Oh, sorry. I was just noting that it's good that it's the board's view.
Yes.
And it is your view, which is fine.
Yeah.
Just noting that it will be flagged. Usually a lot of people read the paperwork, and this will be something of interest, I think.
Yes, it has been raised with us. We've only got 6 board members, and it was 4-2. So there was a discussion about whether it proceeded. Some people are very strong on it. I felt it was okay to take forward, as I think Henk did too. So, and then there were 2 people opposed, 2 board members. So it's a bit of a mixed view, basically.
I've got a question.
Yes.
In regards to you and Marie making a decision about who speaks for it, did you have that same discussion about me speaking to the independent hearings panel today? Did you both concur on that? Did you and Marie have that discussion?
I don't think we
It was
did.
agreed some time ago because Marie
I think ages ago,
conflicted and wasn't able to speak on it. I think it was agreed at that stage.
Yes. So have you got concerns, Tyler, about our?
None whatsoever.
We can't say, can
You can't say as council.
No, I mean.
No. That's a
Because it's
Can I
going to
ask?
count, a
No,
council.
you can't. No, he's a decision maker.
Okay.
No, just not around specifically that, but was it just bringing it to our attention that it
There'll
would
be
be?
public interest in it.
Yeah,
of course.
yeah, and we did, yeah, we are aware of
I
that.
highlighted that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a minority that's been excluded.
Yeah.
Like in the past, we've had Samoan people excluded, or there's been a whole lot of different minorities in the past. So this is really a minority that's been, or felt, they've been excluded actually.
Sure.
So
I'm not giving my views on it or anything. It's
Yeah,
just, I'm just flagging it to that, that there'll be attention on it if it does get took on.
Yes, I know.
And there'll be strong public interest of it, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sure.
It's a contentious issue.
Yes.
We
Yeah, very.
are
They're a
yeah,
brave board.
fully aware of that.
Yeah. Question time will come in council.
And it's an interesting issue because we all get elected for different reasons and can have very strong views on certain issues, and you can't expect elected members who are strong on a certain issue to actually be quiet about it. If it's
I don't think that's
if
what
it's
Tyler's
within
saying.
local
I think he's
government.
just alerting us to the fact that it's going to be.
And also keeping distance from this
It's a warning.
thing, because I want to be on this panel.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I have a strong interest in the draft and the equity and inclusion
Oh, yeah.
policy, which I played a part in around multiculturalism and youth. So
you're on the panel.
no, I have interest in it, but there's been no talks of it.
So is it going to be a whole of council or like a hearings panel?
I'm not quite sure.
Not quite
When
sure
it gets
yet.
adopted, it'll have to be all of council, but there'll be a hearings panel, I'd imagine, to hear the submissions.
Okay.
So we've got a mover and a seconder
Yep.
for receiving that.
Can I just say how excited I am to see the Hornby Centre moving towards opening here? This is really great to see. So
Are we in
Yes.
yeah.
information shared?
So now,
No,
have we moved the
Moved
area
and
report?
seconded the area report, but we need a vote.
Yes, so that's been done.
all in favour?
And now I'm going on to,
We need a vote to receive it.
Yeah.
Mover and a seconder.
We're all for it.
Everybody for
oh, have we voted?
Carried.
All those in favour say aye.
Aren't we?
Yeah, yes, boss. Want to go home?
Carried. Thank you. The elected members' information exchange. I think we'll have to keep this very brief.
I'd
Actually.
like to start if I could.
Yes, go ahead, Debbie.
Helen, in 10 years, I've been on this board, and I would just personally like to thank you in regards to all the incredible amount of time that I recognise that you have put into the intensification and speaking to the independent hearings panel. I know that I spoke with you today. Marie couldn't because she's a planner, and I spoke to a certain portion of it, and I know that we've still got more speaking to do and more planning and more witnesses to come in. But your expertise is paramount to the point where one of the 5 commissioners had overlooked something that you picked up. And so I don't know if, unless you're there, you can't kind of pick up the incredible amount of time and expertise that you have brought to the panel. So I'd just like to say on behalf of the board, thank you.
Thank you
for all your amazing time. I know that we do a lot of conferring, and I know that you're all constantly caught up on this. So thank you.
And thank you, Debbie. And it's extraordinary what's happened. It's not within the standard norm of local government to actually be so tied up with this plan that's come from back central government. So it's really, and it's difficult. It even felt the commissioners felt concerned about it, and they're hearing from both sides. They're hearing from people, let's go higher, or let's go bigger and higher, and then people say don't do anything at all. So they seem to be at present in effect a quandary, which I guess they'll get clear on as in fact they go through. Can I just ask people if they would feel comfortable with this? As Marie can't participate because she's involved in Plan Change 14 as a staff member, would you be comfortable if Debbie came in as a sort of deputy to help me at times? Or if I'm ill or something? we have a person who can step in
It's a board decision, not a
for
council's can't be.
plan change
Yeah, the
14.
board, it's not the council.
Yeah, sorry, I've noticed. So I'll have to talk about with board members, I think. Otherwise, it's
We can't conflict ourselves.
yes,
Possibly so.
you can't say a thing, can you? People are aware of that councillors can't comment at all.
The delegation is with
The board.
you.
It's good to hear them, Sharon.
And
Marie.
No,
So
so I'll speak to her
you
first.
speak to
Yeah, good. No, I'll do that. Any other item that, Tyler?
Yeah, two quite important ones. I just sent Faye and Jess both an email with 5 photos in it as an attachment. You'll just be able to just swing through them. The first one was actually capitalising on Peter Stinnon sent me a couple of photos around Little Blenheim Road. And he actually makes a lot of sense here, where he was talking about the sucker trucks, and the sucker trucks were going around, particularly on Blenheim Road, the surrounding streets, but on Little Blenheim Road, they get people who handpick the rubbish. Now, there's been quite a bit of a bugger along that road because of the deep dish channels, but not just that, the drains are getting full because there's only hand pickers. So along that bush line, and I asked them about this ages ago.
Oh, yes.
Along that bush line, there's a lot of litterers, particularly coming out of their cars, but there's a lot of students along that line too, and social housing complex a little bit further up. Outside of that, there's rubbish all along that street. Now, the question that I want to put to staff is, can we look at putting them on this one's a different one, but can we look at putting the sucker truck on Little Blenheim Road to mitigate that, or get those hand pickers to clean those drains out on the regular? Because I was talking about this earlier, the high traffic area, it's a highly transient, highly used area that is essentially getting on the same cleanup route as a residential street.
So can I speak?
Yeah, please, Faye, please. Sure.
But Peter raised this with me the other day also. So I referred his issues to staff directly, and they've come back and said that contractors are paid for a job rather than they're not told how to do the job, but that council does carry out kind of
audits.
Yes. Spontaneous or regular audits, but not always on the same street. But he's going to put these particular roads on the next audit.
Great.
And see.
Thanks.
See
and I did put that through to OCE already too.
And the best and most effective way to track this is to get people to be using the Snap, Send and Solve and customer service requests, but because through that, we can track the data and how much is coming through. So if the team is seeing that these roads have got these constant problems, then they can target those for extra sweeps and know that these are problem areas.
Good to know.
And extra audits as well. So we really want to push the message of please use Snap, Send, Solve and please use customer service requests.
Very good to know. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jess.
And I was concerned too that whether we had a cycle of maintenance, and it appears we do. I thought perhaps there'd been cuts in that, but it seems like every 4 or 6 weeks, streets are meant to be cleaned. So interesting. Yeah.
The last one is really quick. Now, this is about drivers' behaviour, particularly in the Riccarton ward, because the roads are so wide. They feel like they can be rascals. So this here is by a guy called Jono DeWitt, and he is actually more in tune with Riccarton than I am. That guy knows Riccarton off the back of his hand. So he quite often sends me things like this. So what we're seeing here is we're seeing Middleton Road, and you're seeing a refuge, pedestrian refuge, literally being driven over where the rails have snapped in half.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what he's asking is he's saying that there's 4 other sites actually across Riccarton that have similar issues, same as this. He's seen this site 3 times being run over to bolster those pedestrian refuges for safety for our young people and for those that cross the road who have inaccessibilities. The reason why the refuge is there is because the road is quite wide within itself, which actually encourages speeding behaviour. So Jono always sends me stuff like this. He's really, really good at that. But it's just flagging that for staff to be able to investigate to look at bolstering and making our streets safer, not just in our residentials, but those highly transient areas too, like the Matipors, the Middletons, and the Wharenui roads.
Okay, thank you. Hank?
Yeah, just like to get staff's opinion really on a cycleway crossing on Buchanan's Road, which is Buchanan's Road, High Road. And there's an automatic trip on the Buchanan's Road side. So the cyclists come across, it sets off the signal, all the traffic stops, and the cyclists go across. Sounds good, until you see that most of the people who use the trip either go straight ahead or turn right down an alleyway, and the traffic stops every time. It's a simple thing. Yeah, to me, the solution is simple. Turn off the automatic thing, wait for cyclists to push the button, problem solved, to me.
Move the automatic.
Yeah.
So
going the other way, it works fine.
What's the actual request again?
Yeah.
Is that they have a look and see if we can fix the problem.
Okay, thank you. Can I just add a couple of things? It's really to say to Tyler, well done. He organised the Riccarton Collective with staff, and it went really well. And all Riccarton groups were there in one room, and I think it was a really good process. Thank you. And I'm not sure if you're aware that Tyler's been in fact Korea with the mayor.
I don't know that.
Yes. So do you want to comment briefly on Korea?
I'm a part of a sister city relationship with Songpa-gu, which is in Korea and Seoul. And I went with Phil, the mayor, and we went and saw what that council does. They're pretty amazing, particularly in waste management. Phil wanted to go to the dump out of all places in Korea. So we went there. I actually quite enjoyed it. Went 4 levels down. They did all rubbish in one space. They had some underground work going on around organics. So the thing that I took from there was they had food waste. So we have mixed, which we can't do here, but they had food waste, and they turn it into a grinded, sort of like coffee grinds, and it can become food for animals, animal feed, or it can become compost. And they sell it for quite a substantial amount per ton. So that means that there's money that's turning over, therefore it's a circular economy. It's pretty cool. They're doing a lot of climate stuff over in Korea, and they're very, very rich, which we are not here. But they have a lot of people. I had a lot of fun, met a lot of good people, hung out with the staff over there, and the staff were really hospitable. Just want to give a big shout out to the Songpa-gu Sister City Committee and to Phil, because he was a joy to be around, to be honest. He was the man.
So just a question, is that not what we do with our green waste on sell it for?
Yes, we have. We don't have animal feed as such, and we don't burn it like they do.
Okay.
They put it through internal combustion. We have it in open air after it's screened, which is the stench. So yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Right.
Thank you, Ty.
No, it's good.
Interesting career, isn't it? With the mayor.
I was very lucky.
Can I just put a shout out to the board members to please, if you at all can, get along to the combined community board session on Tuesday. There is a really important thing on the agenda there.
Which is what?
Which is, try and get rid of that. That's the new.
Sorry, it's disappeared.
It's disappeared. Okay, there's an elected members process for doing our raising matters. So there's a new process for that, and I strongly recommend to get along to that combined community board session to be introduced to it and ask questions about it. Because it is quite an interesting and different solution.
It's on Zoom, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Zoom one. So please get in and have a look at it, because I think it's actually vital that you get in and have a look, so you can understand the system that we are supposed to be working in.
And
makes it easy
as a team, we're here to support the change and answer any questions. And it's going to be a really great way of supporting your requests for information going forward.
Is that in our hub already?
It is in your hub already.
Yes.
Great. So the agenda's in the combined community board section. So jump in and have a look.
I can't see it in the briefings.
And the other thing I was trying to make everyone aware that I've put through a list on response to the community boards coming and talking to the council ahead of the long-term plan, and I've put a big list to Helen, and I've now put that same list through to the staff through the long-term plan portal, and it's just basically projects that I, as a new councillor, feel are important to try and make sure there's a project in place to try and land it into the long-term plan. I don't know if everyone's aware, but the long-term plan is a vital tool that we as elected members have, that we can, if we don't have a project in the long-term plan somewhere in the 10 years, basically it's not going to happen. So we need to try and fight to get projects into the long-term plan so we can then work with them in the coming years. And so these projects that are important to Hornby, one prime example is the Waterloo Gilberthorpe's Parker intersection that we've been fighting so hard for. There needs to be a project proposed to the long-term plan to try and land it somewhere in there so that it can actually get then priority to get worked on at some stage. So unless we land things in the plan, we've got no chance. So I've put through quite an extensive list and I'm waiting for responses on it. So just to let you know that I've done that to try and make sure we've got some go forward into the long-term plan. I also wanted to give a really big shout out to staff. I've had some really awesome things happening in Hornby in the last month. The paths in Kyle Park and Denton Park have been renewed, and I've had so much thanks from the community on that. We've had so many problems with tree roots and paths not being fit for purpose, damaging people's mobility, scooters and stuff. So thank you to staff. That's really awesome to be able to have a decent win like that. Means a lot to the community. And also I was out there with Toby, the city arborist, and we looked at the path joining through Denton Park towards the underpass, and that's in a shocking state as well. And I understand that's either being worked on now or due to be worked on really soon. So we then have the full connectivity through there. So a huge shout out to staff. Thank you so much for the parks team and everybody who's been involved with that. The community really appreciate it. And then the other one, big shout out to staff, is the Shan's Amy's Road. The green light being put on at the same time as they're replacing that traffic pole just sings volumes to the community. Thank you so much for listening and ensuring that happens at the same time. So Hornby are rejoicing having those few things done. It makes them feel loved, and it's important for us now. People, the staff on the back are so well done, and thank you.
We aren't greedy. We just want a lot of stuff.
Exactly.
We've got a lot done.
So that's pretty much it. I'm happy to sing some praise.
No, not without sounding contradictory.
And can I say that Marie presented to the council last Wednesday on our 3 requests, 1 for each ward. And the capital program, which we haven't got yet and councillors haven't got, should be with board members on the 24th of October. So that lists all the major projects for each ward and each board area. So we'll have to look carefully at that to see if something slipped, or maybe we can put things in. But I think the budgets are going to be tight, aren't they?
Just very tight.
Can I just ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I just ask? When we had discussions about the Better Off funding, when does all that come to fruition?
At the next briefing.
Okay.
And then the November meeting.
Yeah.
October or November?
November.
November. That's good. Thank you. Yes. And we should have the capital projects by then. So if there's a small capital project like parks equipment that isn't in there, we could potentially take it from Better Off funding.
Can I say something? Marie here.
Marie, home.
Hi, sorry.
Marie.
Yes, so in addition to what Helen mentioned, because we had a briefing this morning for the chairs and deputy chairs. So John Pilsel said that we get the capital program projects on October 24th. There is a tight time frame turnaround, so we have to get back within 2 weeks. So we only have 2 weeks to review those capital projects and before they finalize the LTP.
No pressure.
That one. And then, yes, so I was about to say also that we got a briefing this morning about the members exchange information or information exchange. And I'm happy to hear, I heard Mark already mentioned it, and I would like to emphasize for everybody to please attend or listen in to Zoom briefing about that new process. And there's a flow chart already attached to that agenda if you would like to have a look at that. Yeah, that's all from me. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So I'll conclude the meeting, and if we stand and prayer.
Uni hia ki te uru tapu nui, kia wātia, kia māma, te ngāko, te tinana, te wairua, I te ara takata, koia ka I rongo, whakairia ake ki runga, kia tina, hui e tāke.